afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the April 30th board meeting of the Wareham Housing Authority. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to silence all their electronic devices and rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And while we're pledging allegiance, could we remember the repose of the soul of our comrade in arms, Charlie Van der Steg, who served in Korea and who will be buried in the Bourne National Cemetery on Saturday. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll of officers. Bob Howell-Laters present.
I've got them.
You got him? Rudy Santos present. Bill Lockwood present. Jane Donahue present. Donna Bronk present. And for the record, I'd indicate that Ms. Bronk presented her credentials that she was sworn in after the election. Before I introduce Donna, I'd like to thank the town meeting members, the selectmen, board, the Community Preservation Committee, and the FinCom for their vote the other night authorizing the expenditure of close to $100,000 in community preservation funds for the restoration and upgrade of the plumbing and the floors in the Agawam Village buildings. And with that, I would like to welcome Ms. Bronk and to the board and ask if you would introduce yourself or if you have anything to say.
Well, I just want to say that I'm thankful that I can be a part of the solution, hopefully, to make Agawam and Redwood and any other buildings that we may have been involved with or are involved with at housing, that I can help in any way with my over 30 years experience in the housing business, and my portfolio was strictly affordable housing for the most part. I had very few luxury housing. I had a little bit, but most of my passion is for affordable housing, and I do promise to do my best for all of you and give you my best. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. At this time, since we have a full complement of 5 members, and I came to a board meeting here in May of 2012, and then I was elected in April of 13, and when I came on the board in April of 13, there hadn't been a board meeting since November of 12, and I think until now, there hasn't been a full 5-member complement on this board for almost 2 years. So with that, I'd like to explain that when I arrived in April, I found that the board meetings were short and brief, the agendas were short and brief, just signed documents, approved minutes, and when I came to my second and third meeting, I found that the minutes were inaccurate, votes that were made weren't recorded, and all they did was pay bills, and sometimes all the agenda said was vote to remove a member from the board. And otherwise, there was no big picture oversight, financial information reported to the board on a regular basis or at all until after we came on and myself was joined by Rudy and Bill Lockwood. In the interim, Donna Barrows had made complaints to the Commonwealth, and they pretty much went unheeded. I had then taken upon myself to make complaints to the Commonwealth, and then they came in and did a one-day review in July or so of 2013 and issued a report which covered a number of issues, but they didn't spend enough time and did not therefore cover all the issues that had been undercovered and over the year that followed that time. Since then, they followed up with a report We responded to that report in October of 13, and they have, in late March, sent us a letter following up with their follow-up of our response in October. Unfortunately, they did not take notice of a lot of the changes and improvements that had been made. They wanted a response to their second follow-up of their first report. We did that and got it out in the mail yesterday. So therefore, the letters from the state went in your package, but now the package that went to them is now on the table in front of you. And we still recognize that there's still work to be done. But I was disappointed in the tone and lack of partnering and working with us from the state, and their lack of understanding of the needs of Wareham, and that Wareham is different from Tewksbury, and Tewksbury is different from Springfield, and they're all different sizes, shapes, and nature, and therefore we have to respond and react and operate and manage in a different way. So those are in your packets for further review. So with that, I'll move to the old business and ask for approval of the minutes of the meeting of February 19, 2014. If everyone has had a chance to review them, I'll accept the motion to approve.
Question?
I have,
Pardon me?
Question?
Go ahead.
Am I a real member or am I associate member?
Associate means you're not the treasurer, the clerk, the treasurer,
Okay.
you got the chairman, vice chair,
and then
treasurer, what have you, then
And
everybody,
And then you have the members.
Members, yeah.
everybody else is a member, but we raise it up and say you're an associate member.
That raises it down.
That
Does
raises
it?
it
No,
down.
well, no. That's the way it used to be. If we can change it to
I'd just rather be a member.
member, all right, we'll change all our letters to say member.
And I'd like to just be a member too, Mr.
All right.
Chairman, while we're,
Good.
Okay,
But
We
you're
all-
a state
I thought
appointment.
that was,
We all took the
Sorry.
same oath.
these always.
yeah.
We all take the same oath, so we're all members.
I
All
guess we're all
right,
members.
We're all members.
so noted.
Okay, and so now,
And
and
Donna.
Donna should also be just a member.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that your only?
That's all I had to pick on.
All right.
I have to pick on something too.
Go ahead.
Yes, about it. At the end of the meeting, I made quite a few comments and remarks. I don't see any of them in these minutes, Mr. Chairman. Is there some reason why they were not included?
No, I would just say that unfortunately, when Barbara takes the notes, you didn't pick up any of that commentary?
Well, I can't do it word for word, so.
Well, I
Okay.
don't need it word for word, but I would just like to,
The
would
gist,
like it to say
Yeah.
the things that I expressed concerns about,
So,
communication.
if you can, well, then what we'll try to do is, to keep it smooth and less confusing, we'll try to have one person speak at a time and take your time, and we'll pause and give you enough time to take notes, because what the draft I saw was the draft I saw. Didn't have anything in it, there was nothing, just didn't get in. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't, I'll go back and double check my notes, because I didn't jot down, I relied upon her, because sometimes I saw, if I knew there's something missing.
Yeah, that's why we had Barbara, because you're participating, so.
So,
you may need a tape recorder.
Let's just,
Yeah.
as a general rule, the minutes of the meeting should include the votes, motions and seconds, and the discussion surrounding the votes and other pertinent discussion that should be noted for future meetings, etc. But it's not a transcript of the meeting. So we'll
Okay.
try better to pick up.
Well, thank you, I would appreciate that, because, again, I took a great deal of time to go through the last 6 months of minutes. I had a lot of concerns that I had expressed that I hope we would discuss in the future, and I fully expected those items to be included in these minutes, so I would make a motion that we do not approve these minutes until I get back with you, Jackie, or Barbara, or Bob, or whoever I need to get back to with the list. I do have a list of notes that I was working from. I think minutes are supposed to be accurate and include everything according to the open meeting law. They're not supposed to be bare bone skeletons, so I think it's important for everybody's
I've had
opinions
that
and concerns.
I've had that conversation with the people in the AG's office, and they told me it's not a transcript.
I'm not asking for a transcript.
I know that, but I'm just saying what's essential is the votes in the conversation to support or oppose the votes. That's essential. The additional description and length is not a statutory requirement of the open meeting law. It's nice, it's good to have the flavor of the meeting and the gist of the meeting, and for that we should strive to attain.
Okay.
But it's not a requirement.
I have the open meeting law with me, so I will pull it out and we will go over that section as time permits at the end of the meeting.
I think you would need a court reporter, or I'd
No,
have to
no, you
remember
don't.
all my
Again.
little shorthand to
Yeah,
keep
no,
up,
we'll-
where these
we'll-
meetings would last until 6 at night.
We'll try to do that.
I believe we are being recorded,
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can go back to the tape.
WCVTV, and
Yeah.
we could go look at
That's what I was
the
thinking.
tape,
Yeah.
should there
Right.
be any question, and that
Right, fine, yeah.
truly reflects the flavor
That's for
of the
sure.
meeting, absent, when we have when I look bad on camera for any day,
Okay, so,
So we could refer back to that for the actual
for the
What- actually
content,
what
for the
transpired during the meeting.
content of the meeting. Okay, so is that sufficient? You still want to
That would be
take?
fine. I would like to have those comments added to the minutes for the
Alright.
record.
May I ask a question? The content of your description of what you wanted, would that be on television? Did you
Yes,
discuss
it
that?
was-
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Rudy, it was about,
Okay.
about a 5-minute
All right, okay.
quick list,
'Cause I didn't know if you just
future
wrote it
concerns.
to Jackie and said this.
No, I asked
Okay.
Bob for a little bit of time at the end of the meeting. I kept
Okay,
it
all
brief
right.
deliberately,
May
and it should be on the tape. We could probably get it added to the minutes very
No problem.
easily,
No problem.
and that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so then, can I take a motion to accept the minutes with the additional supplementary information that will be presented at the next meeting? So these will be accepted as printed with the supplementary information to come. And we'll accept those at the next meeting instead of doing it some time in between. Is that okay?
We can do that.
All right, do I have a
The rest
second?
of the board
Yeah,
agrees.
obviously.
And as amended by title.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
and all the other amendments that
Yep.
were discussed.
Second, I guess?
I see.
You second?
Yes.
Who mooved?
No, I asked for a
Oh, I'm
motion, so
sorry.
you made
I
the
make the
motion,
motion.
you
I'll
second.
second.
I'm terrible.
Motion made by Santos, seconded by Lockwood. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0-1. She abstained, Ms. Parker abstained.
Just trying to understand.
This is a prerogative group.
That's appropriate, let's see, okay, so that's that over there. Next on the agenda is a letter that we sent to Mr. Campina for the sewer department. As you recall, at the last meeting, we discussed this, and I think he wasn't able to attend the meeting. And there was some discussion about who owns the pumps and the stations down in Redwood are here. And he indicated that we do own the sewer pumping station, and that he would be willing to perform the maintenance and service on this equipment as necessary at full reimbursement of direct costs, indirect costs, overhead, fringe benefits, etc. The statute provides that under chapter 121B, section 7, it provides that the housing authority can request from the town services of this nature, and that when requested, they shall provide it. Chapter 121B, section 23G and J also indicate under the powers of the town that they shall and may enter into contracts with the authority to perform such services. And if we do so, it's not subject to the bidding laws. So, Do you have that letter in front of you all? It's all in your package?
I do, thank you. I have
Yeah.
a question, Mr.
Go
Chairman.
ahead.
It appears that you sent him a similar letter back in January,
Right, we did.
and
Yeah.
hadn't responded to that yet.
They did respond. We went to a meeting at the selectman's office, and there was some question as to them doing it or getting involved and who owned the stuff, and so they tabled it. The selectmen tabled it at that time, so we didn't come to the discussion, but they have a similar letter from back then, so I figure we better reinvigorate the process, because time is going and the pumps might need service. Any comment, Ms. Hickey? No?
No,
Okay, good.
no. We spoke with Mr. Campina, and he has other various contracts with other privately owned pump stations in the town of Wareham, so I think it would be just a win-win for everybody.
He was willing to do this. All right, so any problem with us going forward and getting this stuff serviced?
B, Bob.
Hmm?
Back to B.
Now, does this require going through the normal bidding stage?
No.
We are allowed
It's
to,
exception.
yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Why wouldn't we want to go through a bid, though? Is it an emergency that has to be done?
No.
It could be
Well,
sometimes.
sometimes it could
But
be.
why wouldn't you want to, I'm just asking a question, why wouldn't you want to follow a bidding procedure?
Well, part of it, I believe that when I made my initial and speaking to our maintenance guys, it's very expensive. We're only gonna pay direct costs that the town incurs, so it would be the hourly wage of the employee and not any other additional, I mean, obviously the indirect and fringe benefits, and if there's anything that needs to be replaced.
No
Oh, so
problem.
it's the town that's gonna do it?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
then-
I just want to make sure we're not
They're
getting
not
an
a,
outside contract or something
no,
with a
no, they're
bidding.
not a middleman and then going around hiring somebody and we're paying
I get you,
over
I
on
get you.
top of that.
Okay,
No.
that was just
Yeah.
a point of information I was looking for.
Yep.
Yeah, in the statute under G says the town, under municipal powers, make available to operating agency the services of its agency's employees and officers. Do any and all things necessary and convenient to aid and cooperate with the planning, construction, operation of a housing authority, blah, blah, blah. Entering of a contract under this section between the town, federal government, and the operating agency shall not be subject to any provision of the law relating to publication or advertising for bids.
Well, that's, I accept your, what you had to say, I just wanted to
Okay.
clarify it for me, that's
All
all.
right, good. I'm sorry. All right. So,
To be,
just for the record, I'll ask for a vote to send the letter to Mr., or to ratify my sending the letter to Mr. Campina on that item B.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry,
500.
no motion.
motion was by,
the letter by Mr. Santos to send the letter to the sewer department regarding maintenance.
Motion Jane, second.
yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Jane
that's what I
Donahue
was-
motion,
Sec-
Peter Santos
Okay.
seconded.
Second, Rudy.
I'm
Was
I'm sorry,
Five.
huh?
Was it 5-0?
500.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, I skipped over item B by error. In your package on the table is a list of all the payees that Jackie has, I presume, checks
Yeah.
for signing at
From
the
the
end of
last
the
meeting.
meeting. And I'd ask you to review them, and we can review them as we go along, and we can take a vote later on at the end. Let me go back to that.
Just to bring to your attention, there are a couple of very large, one bill was for $19,800 to pay Arugio Brothers, who was one of the second to the last payment on the boiler project at Redwood that finished 2 years ago. And then there is our utility payments, which this was from February 19th, 2014 to May 1st. Those payment that are included in that.
That's the
So-
$12,500 in the $13,200 to National Grid and National Grid, yeah.
We did have a couple of other payments for the sewer line replacement and finally getting the bills for the water line replacement that happened in November of 2013. So those bills came through. And plus this includes all payroll.
Okay, so while you're perusing that, we'll proceed along with the rest of the meeting. Pick those up later. Under new business, after an election, it's appropriate to have a reorganization of the board. So with that, I'll open up nominations for offices of chairman.
Nominate Bob Politis, chairman.
Motion by Mr. Lockwood, Paulides for chairman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other nominations? Okay. Move to elect Robert Paulides as chairman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0-0.
They're having a hard time hearing you.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is this thing working, Bob? The
Yeah, but
mic?
it's only for the machine. It's
Oh,
only for-
okay.
Right.
Okay, next officer is vice chair. Any nominations for vice chair? I move to nominate Rudy Santos for chair.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lockwood.
Chairman doesn't.
Any further nominations? Hearing no further nominations, I ask for a vote on Rudy Santos for vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just point of order, Mr. Chairman,
Pardon me?
just as a point of order.
Yes.
In my experience, the chair usually doesn't make a motion. They usually ask for a motion.
Okay, I did ask for motion, but I heard none, so I made it. I know the chair usually breaks ties, but, okay, so, any further? Did we take a vote on that?
No.
No.
No, okay.
We did.
All in
Oh,
favor?
we took
All
a
in
vote.
favor?
Yeah, we can vote.
We did a vote
Yeah,
on that?
we voted.
Okay,
I thought it was
that's what I
interrupted.
said. Did we hear
I thought it
five?
was interrupted too.
Yeah.
Okay,
5-0.
all right. Chair, vice chair. For the office of treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on the Office of Treasurer. Is
Yeah.
that, how does that fit into the guidelines or has there been a treasurer in the past on the Housing Authority? Do housing authorities usually have treasurers?
Well,
When-
there was a treasurer here before, and he was a tenant board member. I personally did not think that's a positive approach to go. It sets up the potential for conflict. But under the statute, it says the housing authority shall elect from among its members a chair and a vice chair, may employ counsel, director, who shall be ex officio of the authority, a treasurer who may be a member of the authority or not, so we could elect somebody else. As it deems necessary and proper, and shall determine their qualifications, duties, and compensation, and may delegate to one or more of its members, agents, and employees such powers and duties, etc. So there is a function of chair, of treasurer. In the case of the Wareham Housing Authority, it being so small and a one-man band, and there's really no ability to segregate duties and have separation of duties, I think it behooves us to, and we don't allow the administrator, as in the past, to be a check signer, so that there's a better set of checks and balances. I think that the treasurer should be one of the board members, in that all board members would, after this, all board members will be notified that to the bank that they're all can sign for the checks, because when somebody's away, she has a tough time getting two members to sign, so that's kind of the history of the treasurer and the other offices.
I'll nominate Donna Braun for treasurer.
Okay, motion by Jane Donahue, do I hear a second?
Second. Okay.
Second by Rudy and
Good
Bill.
yeah.
Ruby.
Ruby, okay. Any further nominations? Call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0-0. That's next. I'm just trying to think if I want to make a motion to reappoint you as administrator now that we got you here.
I'm sorry, Bob, we can hear you down here.
Oh,
I was just trying to think if we should take a vote to continue the employment of the administrator. We'll give her a little more
Say
No
time.
problem.
Give her a little more time.
A lot more?
All right, we'll skip that one. All right, all right, so we have the reorganization done. Committee assignments, I think in your package there's a list of assignments I made up. The town has been after us for a long time.
No, I don't think, we weren't able, I didn't have that done for the board.
Yeah, which one is for me?
No.
I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't have it, they don't have it.
All right.
Nothing.
I don't have
I-
it, okay.
I'm sorry, I
You want me to
got,
make copies?
no, I can read it. I made up the town's been after me for a while to fill the position on the Community Preservation Committee
Oh, yeah.
in the
CPC?
in the Housing Affordable Trust. Which one did you mention?
CPC.
Affordable Housing Trust and the CPC.
Yes.
CPC.
Yes.
Yeah, right, those are the two. So, I know that someone had approached Bill Lockwood on the CPC, and I think
They approved
they
me too, yeah.
appointed you before.
Yeah, well, yeah, they approached me before that too.
Yeah.
I'm currently on the Affordable Housing Trust Board,
Yeah,
Makes
so
sense to be the
the
liaison.
yeah,
problem,
so,
if you become our designee, will they have to go get somebody else?
no, not at all, not at all.
All right, so what was the problem? It must have been the CPC, they said they couldn't get a quote.
No, that was a CPC.
Quorum.
It was CPC that's
Yeah.
All
approached me.
right, all right.
Yeah, and you had Nancy Miller? No,
Actually,
Donna,
Angela Dunn.
Angela Dunn, Angela Dunn,
All right.
that's it.
several
Oh,
members
Donna.
actually.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
So with that, I'd ask for a motion to appoint Bill Lockwood to the CPC committee and Donna Bronk as the Housing Authority designee and to the Affordable Housing Trust.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
5-0.
All right. This is the letter from Mr. Titlebaum asking us to fill somebody in the CPC. Did you get that? Didn't get that?
No.
You can pass
I
that
didn't.
around.
No.
It's probably the second
I
or third one.
I didn't send the copy of that letter.
I got calls from those guys
But I will
too.
definitely furnish you a copy if you need one.
Was it Bill for CPC?
Bill
Yes.
Lockwood
Okay.
and Ms. Bronk for the Affordable Housing Trust. Okay, so. What?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, next.
Continuing on that discussion.
Yeah.
That this is contingent upon me receiving special municipal employee status from the town, which I will apply for.
For the CPC position by
For the
Mr.
CPC.
Lockwood.
Yeah. That housing authority, by statute, we are exempted from that requirement, but CPC is not.
Okay,
Okay.
so that you'll go up to the town hall and take care of
I
that?
will make application to the selectmen for that.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Thank you both. Next order of business is the Infrastructure Committee report, am I right? That's
Yep,
right? Yeah,
yep.
okay. Mr. Lockwood?
Yes, okay. A few things here. We've already discussed the Guy Campen letter, so don't need to discuss that. The boiler replacement project at Redwood is complete. I've received certificate of final completion, which has been signed off by the engineers. The only money held at this point was the retainage on the contract. In our bills for the, here before us, 19,000, which is the previous invoice. So they would be paid out, project completed, end of story. thank you all.
How much is that?
The retainage is $14,992, which,
They're looking for approval.
They're looking for a board meeting vote.
Vote.
yeah, okay, yes, they are looking for a board vote.
Okay.
And,
And signature.
of the certified contract
Right.
officer.
Yeah, okay, so.
So,
Further to report beside that
we'll
one?
want to get this one done while
All
we're
right,
here?
okay, I'll accept a motion to approve final payment of retainage to Arujo Brothers for the project at Redwood for the boiler system.
So be.
Final payment, yes.
Final payment, right.
Is that the 14,000?
Yes, it is.
14,900 and change. Motion was made by
Second?
By whom?
By me.
Mr. Santos, seconded by
Second.
Mrs. Bronk. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
500. Next, Mr. Lockwood.
Next, the stoop project. There's been a good amount of conversation. We have received some funding from the town.
No, we received $30,000 in there was supposed to be grant money, and we could then get 30,000, another 15 from the town CPC, but
Okay,
just to get to the 30,000's already been approved. It has to be spent by June 30th.
By the state.
By the state.
yes.
Okay. Yep,
So,
so,
in any case, your contract has been signed with Nald Architects for the design. We'll be doing an inventory of the stoops in the next week to see which ones need what.
okay,
and
all right.
And I think that would come under either the state's health and safety initiative, emergency mod, or
I think it was a health and safety
formula
initiative.
funding,
I
good
don't
source
have it in
of
front of me.
bucket of bills money they
I have
have.
it right here.
Which one is it? What bucket?
It's, repair broken stoops, $30,000.
Is it a health and safety initiative?
It's a health and safety
Yeah.
initiative,
Okay,
yes.
that's
It
where
is
the
with,
money.
it is with HUD, right? It's
Yeah.
it's health and safety.
Yeah,
It's
that's
health
what
and
it is.
safety from, DHCD.
It was in the package too, right?
Previous.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Only because I'm new. Do you have a capital program in place, a capital improvement program that identifies your, Bill, you must know them,
Right,
that
yeah.
identifies all the.
I know what you're talking
There's
about.
a-
I don't believe we do.
Is there a 5-year plan that is what we can incorporate it in year 1, in year 2, or
I-
year?
I think Jackie can
Yeah.
can follow up
Right.
further, but I think there was a lot of opportunity in the past. The state came in, did surveys, and proposed long-term capital plan. There was one sitting in DHCD, but on this side of the fence, there wasn't a lot of follow-up responsiveness or whatever, so there is a plan, and we reinvigorated it with the interim director that we hired from Executex. They retrieved a lot of money that we had missed out on. Some of it was stoop money and other funds. And since Jackie's been here, she's been working with the engineers and architects at DHCD to get us back on the course of getting the funds to upgrade the exterior of the buildings, make the
Well,
renovations, et cetera,
just-
so go ahead.
Right. They do have a CIP program, which is Capital Improvement Project Program.
Right.
And they had one in, they're like kind of giving us a little bit of a really leg up, because we had one that really is really coming to an end, but they're allowing us to use that money. So within that project, we had a couple meetings ago, had to have a board vote about a capital improvement project program, which would include all of Agawam, 2 other buildings of Agawam, with some other additional monies thrown in. So it ends, I can get you that, I do have that.
You have a capital
But
plan in writing?
I do,
Okay.
and what I really believe that the board
Mhm.
needs to come up with a plan, how we could sit together and inventory, in layman's terms, what needs to be accomplished, what things that we have found that could need to be accomplished. And then giving me direction to then go get that different grant money from the different sources, from CDBG, from CPA, and from, you know,
Makepeace.
because I do want everybody to keep in mind too, in 2004, the CPC of Wareham did a study to add 16 more units to our
I realize
existing
that.
subsidy,
I
so,
realize that.
right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
through you, I feel very strongly about this capital plan being a good, solid plan. I do understand the limitations on Jackie, because I know what she has to do. I know what her responsibilities. I would suggest, and basically just a suggestion, that you do have a committee set, and that committee can work with her and help her through this. I think that if we, take a look at something like that, I think that could be so advantageous to everyone.
Yeah.
And not be flying by the seat of our pants.
Right.
Correct, absolutely.
And
Yes.
you've got too much on your plate.
Right.
But the
Absolutely.
day-to-day things,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and have someone help you through that process.
thank you.
Just my suggestion.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. In the interim, getting to this point, we had met with engineers and architects from the state. They hired outside architects. First it was with the executives, then with Kate Lumen, and then with our administrator, and Bill Lockwood was there, and Rudy was there in past meetings, and
Well-
they indicated that they would be willing to work with us, and that there would be an additional support from them if we were able to parlay this with other money from the from CPC and CEDAR and whatever. But
What
they,
I- I'm
you
sorry.
just finished. So, but in following up on what you're saying, in our package, we have in our policies and procedures developed committees, and one of them is Infrastructure and Capital Planning Committee. And so you want to be on that committee.
Well, I wasn't saying that exactly. My experience with HUD, Mass Housing, and that is when they contract their engineers and that to come out to do
Right.
the inspections, to do this.
Right.
They don't really, they go on what you say you need.
Oh, that's right.
90%
Yeah.
of the time, on what you say. They don't care, they don't have their own agenda, they wanna know what
No,
you have to
exactly,
say
right.
and
Right.
follow. And I just wanna make sure that we have a solid plan, that we can sell it to them.
Exactly.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
that's just exactly what happened with us and with Bill, with Nault Engineering, who's an architect firm out of Worcester, that
Right.
we're going back and forth with us and them, and it's DHCD, trying to decide what to do, and it was going around in circles, because they kept putting it back on us. We asked for more information, Bill would ask for more information, us suggest more things, and they'd give a little blowback, and then the state would say, it's up to the authority to whatever they want, and
Right,
as
right.
long as it's within their funding
I mean, we've
parameters,
got,
you know.
we have
got
the
a great-
advantage of having Bill here. I mean,
You're absolutely right.
It's a great asset.
I've appreciated him a lot the past couple of weeks.
It's nice to be appreciated.
Unfortunately, he's not getting paid for this.
That is not the issue. That's not the issue. There is, it seems like an enormous amount of paperwork
That's-
to
I'll get you that.
deal with for its little result. But
Comprehensive, but it's a start.
Okay.
But we are trying to ramp up
Yeah.
yes, there is some sort of capital improvement plan, but not one that we have developed as a committee.
I can get some great samples for you guys, the guidelines to
Perfect.
follow.
Yeah,
That our companies used, and
Perfect,
I'd be
yeah.
happy to get it down to you.
absolutely. I mean, the state did, Jackie was able to get the 5-year plan that was
That's-
on the table back there, but it was, nobody here ever was on top of that. Shoot,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we have to, I mean, and you understand this, Donna,
Yeah.
from your background. We're the ones that have to say, okay, where are you now? Okay, so then they get us this project number and fish number. Okay, now you know, and it's the,
It's time consuming.
and it's
Jackie.
the procurement part of it too, because I wanna make sure that we're using the best quality products along with meeting our needs here. I mean, just going back and forth with Stoops and making sure I'm
That's true.
talking to the people that are experts
Right,
you know?
right.
And that we can, you know, I mean, the water department said they'd work with us with our underfloor plumbing.
Mhm.
We spoke with Mr. Martin, I'm not sure his
Yes.
name, but, because we wanna be able to get the most efficient amount, because if the funding ends up being cheaper, we can do more, you know? We have a
Does-
critical need, so you know,
Does DHCD require an outside firm to come in and do a capital needs study? Because they do with HUD buildings and they do with mass housing. That's why
Yeah.
I'm asking that question.
I don't know, the study was done before any of us
Okay.
arrived
Yeah.
here, and I don't know what year it
They
would be and if it was
contracted,
going on,
yeah.
but I presume it wasn't all in-house people, they probably hired
yeah.
people to go
Yeah, we
around.
always had to have,
And do a
on-site
survey.
insight did all our,
They, I
was
think they
pretty-
did a statewide review, but it's years
And it's
ago.
overwhelming. I mean, when they came in 2009 or 10 and did that review, it was overwhelming. It was $32 million. And they, you know, they give us 166 a year, you know, it was a little,
yeah.
you know.
Well, I'm just trying to get, I'm trying to
Yep.
wrap my hands around the situation. I don't mean to be disruptive, you know.
No, that's all right,
No.
but what I could ask then is, to satisfy the
Sure.
conversation, can we get the latest update status of the
Yeah.
plan, where
Yes, I
year it
love a
is?
copy of
And
the.
provide it
Absolutely.
to all members.
Right.
It actually is in a thing called IntelliGrants, which is what DHCD uses to, you know, help us plan those issues.
Well, if they have, if you have links to those, Mr. Chairman, through you to Jackie, if you have links to those
You mean like so you guys can get in
hyperlinks, so
there?
we can go in and look.
You know what, I will contact DHCD because they can get you your own passwords because
Good.
you're an elected member and then you guys
Great.
can, it's a very easy system, it's
Might,
kind of,
might help us on our.
yeah, then you'll be able to go in and
Right, we
see
can
and
help out.
understand kind of what we're facing, you know? Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a plan and they have, and it looks exactly kind of like that. And then they
Yeah.
have a couple of pages with more details. But I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, if we're on the driver's seat under that, we can actually ask them to improve that
Mhm.
qualification. And they
Right.
will. The team, Gordon Ewan and Bill Farmer and Simone Early at DHCD
Bill
are,
Mills probably saw it.
Bill Miller, I
I'm
know.
gonna say Bill Farmer.
I know, Bill Farmer's with the Retirement Association,
He's
I don't
at the
know.
Plymouth County Retirees.
I got a problem with that,
All right.
Farmer and Miller, but, yeah, so I'm sorry, Rudy.
Okay, Rudy? Go ahead, Rudy.
I agree with Donna. And I think what you have done is open the door for us to have a good capital planning project. Just let me say that I worked for the state for 15 years. And one of my duties, responsibilities was the director of facilities.
Yeah.
I'm aware of course, this was quite a while ago, but I'm aware of capital planning because I had to do a lot of it, over $3 million for the hospital. So I understand the process of the engineering in Boston and what have you.
Mm-hmm. So it's good, we've got some good experts here.
We do.
Well, it's
We've
not
got-
saying to be expert, it's
No,
saying that I haven't mentioned
Background
that.
and experience.
No, experience just goes a long way,
Well,
my friend.
I could be helpful with
With
that
me.
with you if you need me.
We
That's
do.
all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
We got a committee.
Yeah,
Okay.
terrific.
All
Yeah,
right,
we need it.
Takes a village.
Bill, back to you.
I guess the last thing on my agenda is the building two.
One,
Um,
two, one,
right.
two, AID, ADR, ADA.
XYZ,
Yeah.
EIEIO.
Yeah.
And I guess that's proceeding. We have contracted with
No?
JC Engineering for, to do the survey for that area. And it came to my attention, but came to percolate to the surface of my brain. That
I answered the phone.
When Donna answered the phone at JC Engineering, when I spoke to them this morning, that she is actually an employee, and certainly want to have that up front. And
Okay.
they were contracted because they gave us a much lower price, rather than any internal connection that didn't exist until after the election anyway.
Right, right.
Hey, I have questions. We put out a bid for a contract and they were
No.
the selected bidder, or
No,
we
go
just,
ahead.
I don't understand how this process works. Please explain it to me, thank you.
Nault Architects had proposed.
This is the state's
A survey.
architect that they
They
hired.
had proposed a a single supplier surveyor.
From Worcester.
From Worcester.
Right, so there was an RFP at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, I'm
Okay.
starting from the
They have
beginning.
their own,
Thank you.
They did, okay, they had a
The
system.
IRFP was for the architect, not,
Right.
and probably any ancillary services that they provided there too, such as they picked their own consultants. And they had suggested a surveyor to come down from Worcester to do a survey here. I took it upon myself to see if we could get a better price locally, in line with, board vote to support local vendors. I did solicit JC Engineering, who I work with on a regular basis. And they produced a proposal which was accepted by
the
by us
state,
and the
yeah,
state.
the state,
I just want to clarify, I don't
ex-
work for JC Engineering.
Okay.
I work for JAS Realty. I
Okay,
have nothing to do with JC Engineering.
Oh, okay.
thank you.
I don't even look at them.
Well, that's not why I was asking.
No, but I'm just saying, I wanted to bring that out front too, because I get his houses built for him. I don't do anything with his engineering.
Okay, so follow up on what Bill was saying. Nault Architects, who's the state architect assigned to this development project, however they procured it, I don't know. They were clamoring, they got a surveyor from Worcester who's free to do, because it's snow up there and he can get down here, and Bill raised the question is, why can't we get more survey work done at the whole property instead of just 1 or 2 units, 1 or 2 buildings? And it would be a lot less, so Bill reached out, got some information, we notified Nault. Nault in the communication said they had no problems with JC, and they just didn't have experience with their deliverables. So I said, well, how do you get experience with deliverables? You call them up, you talk, they said they talked to them, communicated them, they were satisfied. They're registered, certified engineers and surveyors and whatever. They just hadn't had experience with them. So we said, well, get experience with them, read their deliverables, check their references, check what they've done. And so the state came back and said, it's our call, not theirs. So that's all been okay. And we said, get going on it. So Nault is taking over on getting this all.
Okay, so that was between February and this meeting, that all this.
Yeah, it
took
was
place.
just the last couple of weeks, we just finalized it, because it was ping pong game, everything you got from Nault, and Bill responded that say, well, just to be sure, was Bill saying this, or was it, because they're like covering themselves, so we got it all resolved.
Okay, great, thank you.
as you can see, the work that's being out, that they're done is in response to JC Engineering coming in either the end of this week or next week to do a surveying. So they had On Target come in and do all the underwater ground piping.
So,
Yep.
Dig Safe, I think that's the.
Dig safe, yeah.
Dig safe, yeah.
So the survey will be accomplished in the.
Very soon,
Very
yeah,
soon.
and then as soon as
Within the
that's
next
done,
week,
yeah.
and that information will be forwarded to Nault, and the purpose of that information is to facilitate the design of accessible units in buildings 1 and 2.
which is part of the overall project, to put siding and roofing on building 2 and re-roof building 1 and associated
Correct.
stoops, windows, doors, and whatever else. So it's been a long process, and hopefully they'll get started and get this project done before the snow flies.
Yes.
So any further report, Mr. Lockwood?
Thus concludes my report.
Okay, motion to accept Mr. Lockwood's report.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Motion by Mr. Santos, seconded by Ms. Donahue. Any further discussion? Call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 500. Next is the Human Resource Committee report. Mr. Santos.
For your information, Donna, on the Human Resources Committee. No, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And as you well know, the job of the Human Resources Committee is to hire and go through the process of elimination or creation of the votes to interview.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully there'll be a packet. We are now planning to interview the head maintenance
Okay.
and possibly a part-timer, am I correct? Or just
We didn't put out the RFP for the.
No, I'm
part-time.
saying, but
Yeah,
we'll-
but yes, eventually, yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
So there'll be two positions, a part-timer and a full-time. The reason we haven't put that out yet is that we haven't got the okay from the board to see who we want to interview. There are numbers that you put next to the person
Mm-hmm.
that you feel they should be
Right.
qualified to be
Right.
interviewed. And if there's 3 or 4 of them, they will take a look at the numbers
Mm-hmm.
and come forth and say, these are people that we want to interview because of their resume and because of what have you. The interview process, I believe, would be Jackie, you,
Well, the steering committee
yeah,
would be you,
You-
me,
and
and Jackie.
at this point,
Of the, after the,
all the board.
all the board has reviewed the
Yeah.
applications and scored them,
Then we'll take,
provide the scores to Jackie, and Jackie will then select for review the top, the people that got three check marks. And,
okay.
John had a question.
Is this just, so in other words, the 3 of you will make the decision on who you hire?
No,
I'm asking a question, that's all.
We'll,
You'll
the
screen
whole
them?
board will screen them,
Yep,
then we'll do the preliminary interviews
Yep.
and recommend
To the board.
to the
to the
board
board, okay,
for,
yeah,
for a
fine.
final
And
interview.
it all
That's
has
all,
to be done in public, right?
yeah, that's only for the Jackie and for the administrator and the head maintenance man.
Head maintenance, yeah.
Other positions are the responsibility of the administrator to hire.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Since you were asking us to peruse the payments, who are these people who are getting paid on our
Oh,
time? I don't, I know
Uh,
Jackie.
Excuse me, have we
I know
finished?
Victoria.
Can we finish?
Can we
Sure.
finish up this,
Sorry,
this
I thought you were
conversation?
done, I'm sorry.
No, I
We're-
think,
No, quite, almost.
Okay, please finish.
Hopefully, do they have the package yet? Or they will?
they have, who are the board members that did not pick up that package with the,
The
application.
I had 2, I know, I've got Rudy and Bob's back.
I don't
checked,
have one,
You
I
don't
was
have
never, I
Okay.
didn't even
All
know
right.
it was available to be picked up.
yeah, so you should get a
Oh,
copy of all the
well,
resumes.
okay.
With
We
a,
will-
with
I
a,
don't have a copy.
You know,
Okay.
I do have one for you,
Okay.
and do I need 2 more or 1 more? I didn't know, did you have
I
one?
got it, I
Right.
reviewed it, I don't know
Think-
that I got it back to you.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
I probably didn't.
Okay,
The-
no problem,
there's
I'll
a-
get the other 2
the
to you
packet will have a
right
top
now.
sheet on it
Mhm.
with all the names, yes, no, recommending
Yep.
for interview and comments, et cetera, for the process.
Once that's done, then we'll set up a time and go over them with Jackie.
Yep.
Then we'll recommend to the board for the interview. Am
For
I
the
correct?
final.
Yeah, for the final interview.
Okay,
And we'll have the figures there that what you put down. In other words,
you mean the scores?
it's the scoring.
Understand.
Okay,
All right, so is that the conclusion of your report?
that's it. Now you can go.
Wait a minute, motion to accept the Human Resource
sorry.
Committee report.
So moved.
So moved. Second, motion by Mr. Lockwood, any second?
Second?
Second by Ms. Bronco. Just any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Thank you.
So do you wanna go back to authorization for bills and payments?
Right, just
Go
because
ahead.
I know who Jackie and Tori are, but who are these other 3 guys?
John
Are they
Gov is our
maintenance
maintenance
guys?
mechanic 2. He's,
He was
he was
pre-existing
here,
employee.
pre-existing employee that was here. And then Steve Texier and Michael Canastra are both temporary, employees for seasonal and upgrade work that is in desperate need due to both the, code 2, inspections and inspections that were not done at Wareham Housing Authority from, it's not only inspections, but follow-through of inspections that were not done.
Inspections and repairs, you mean? Are they
Yep.
actually doing the repairs?
Oh, absolutely, yes, repairs.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah. So those are the employees.
thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the bills, now that we have them up? Do you have any comments on the bills?
No, I reviewed, you know,
Okay, so with that, I'll go back to item B under old business, is there a motion to approve the payments that have, and also for your benefit, Donna, all of these on this list, there's a process for, whether it's payroll, she signs off on the payroll for the employees, I sign off on
Right.
her timesheet. All bills from Home Depot or Lowe's or for materials, supplies or whatever are picked up by the men. They have authorization to pick them up by the administrator. The administrator verifies that they picked up what was necessary. It's allocated to the different projects they're working on, the apartments they're renovating and fixing up. And then she matches it up to the bill that comes in eventually and approves it for us, our signature in this meeting. So nothing on here has been,
Do you
hasn't
have,
been
do you use
reviewed.
purchase orders?
Pardon me?
Do you use purchase order system?
We do not. We probably should,
Yes.
but we are,
We haven't got there
when
yet.
I tell, okay,
Okay.
well, this leads into my,
We got a few seconds, the video director is telling us the tape is gonna run out, so I'll ask for a brief recess while he makes the change.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
So you didn't make a motion on the bills?
no, we're gonna come back to talking on the bill, so motion to take a recess, thank you. Approved, 500.
You're going back to the
Just
bills.
gonna go back to the,
the motion to approve the warrant for the bills.
It's crude, but that's just the way it is.
Right, it's fine.
all right, so
I'm down with that.
before the break, I was asking if everyone had a chance to review the bills and if we would someone make a motion to approve the bills as
They have
recommended
been
by
paid.
the director and having adequate supporting documentation that she is satisfied with. And that it'll be
can't just
available with the bills in the
Right.
checks that are here for later on,
Right.
for your review if you wanna look at the detailed bills.
Right, this is the ones, I wanna show you what I do is I do create this, it's almost like a purchase order sheet. I create the bill to review it. If somebody other than myself, if one of our maintenance guys went, they signed off on a bill, I include the backup with the bill. So then there is always that second. We don't necessarily do a strict purchase order thing, but we could institute it if the board so requests for maintenance.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Well,
You want that? Okay.
I think that, I don't know, I mean, it seems to me like, people buy stuff and then we approve the payment for it. Do they come, is there anybody they come to?
Oh, they actually
Yeah.
come to
Seat
me
free.
first,
Seat
yeah.
This is what I think we're discussing down here.
Yeah,
Approval of the purchase before it's made unless it's an emergency, if there's some,
It's, okay, I mean, due to the nature of the situation, okay, so can I just start
Go
with
ahead.
my administrator's report?
All right.
I just wanted you to understand, we are starting from ground zero here. So there was no procedures or processes were in place to be able to say, how should we approach this? So with our maintenance, especially only with the Home Depot, I mean, we could definitely, because if they're for instance, last night, my workman, he called me at 6 o'clock this morning to inform me that when he was working on a unit E21, recaulking the tile in the bathtub, he found out that the whole wall needs to be repaired. And he was kind of distraught about that. It made a little extra noise. He wanted me to inform me of that there was a tenant issue along with, this is an empty unit during a unit turnover. If I waited 30 days, I mean, today just happens to be that. I'm just so you understand, how do we handle going to the store to purchase wall boards, necessary wall boards to fix the wall, you know, so I don't know how to handle that.
My experience would be the property manager, being you,
Yeah,
would have the authority to authorize
Right.
up to a certain limit.
that's what, yes.
And then that's when you would go to, if it was an emergency, obviously you'd go to Bob, and Bob would let everybody
Right.
know. But it would be your call.
Mhm.
That's my experience.
Okay.
Right.
And the thing I like about purchase orders is, you can keep an eye, when guys go to different stores, sometimes they're there, I'd see bills, he was there at 8, he was there at 10:15, he was at,
Yes.
you're not planning, pal,
Correct.
you're costing me
Yeah.
Oh,
money.
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
You need-
yes.
You need to
Yeah,
We need to,
tighten up here, buddy.
correct,
yeah.
yes.
But, so that would be that would only be
Absolutely.
my
No,
suggestion.
Right,
it's
I mean-
it's a good goal to strive for.
Right.
Right, I absolutely agree. I feel like we can actually tighten our belts in numerous areas, especially procuring things like our carbon monoxide detectors. I mean, they're anywhere from $7 to $42.
Exactly.
So I want to make sure that we're going to get the best carbon monoxide for the cheapest amount of money, and that, which brings me to, you know, I registered with us for the OSD, which is the Office of, they call it something, Operational Services Division, which handles all of the, it used to be Compass and Mass Buys and the procurement for the state of Massachusetts, to register us, so then we can actually go on and get into the bidding and maybe order these things instead of using a local vendor. Although Home Depot is a state-approved vendor, so, I mean, we would definitely not want to lose that, but I think we could better service us most efficiently by making sure, you know, we did go out to procure with the Plymouth County Commissioners for our appliances, and believe it or not, we are using, we had somebody else that was giving us it gave us a really, really good price and a better quality product. We found them, other than going to the Plymouth County Commissioners, because they restricted us to just brown appliances, so, I mean, but we are, understandably so, working towards tightening that part up and doing the right RFP if need be, you know.
I think you'd find the purchase orders very helpful to you.
Thank you, I will research that
Yeah.
and definitely get that into action. Yeah.
It's a good way to control your costs and monitor and keep track of what you're spending on for budgeting purposes in the future. But as
Right,
you can understand, this is a small operation. It's not like Boston Housing Authority where they have stock and they get supplies and you can go get a piece of wallboard out of the stock room. But unfortunately, every time they need a doorknob or something, they gotta go get in a truck and go get it. We don't have,
well, we are getting more efficient in that area, because that is an issue with me too. I'm like, I'm not gonna see somebody go 3 times to Home Depot
Yeah.
or Ace Hardware, or wherever we need to go to get that
Exactly.
specific item. I think that is a waste of our time and resources.
There are certain things that you know that you need all the time,
Right.
light bulbs and stuff that you have
Absolutely,
in stock.
right, that's what I said. I mean, recently we just, Bill Lockwood brought to our attention when he went to sign a bill, a fan motor that was a little expensive, and he said, Jackie, you definitely can get this, you know, get this cheaper, and our maintenance man, we did find someone that almost cut the price in half. If you buy 5, well, we have 64 motors that need to be, and I wanna say a good 75–80% of them need to be replaced or upgraded. So we made a deal, if we buy 5, we pay, you know, we get the whole 5 for $300 as opposed to two for over $300.
Do you get a 10% discount from Home Depot?
Yes, we
Okay,
do.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we
So you're
automatically,
doing good.
yeah,
You're doing
we're
really well.
trying.
Doing
Well,
well.
because we have a lot to do and we don't have, it's like being at home, you have a certain amount of pennies that need to fix the things and you gotta get the best for the most, so. And we have I wanna say these guys are tremendous, they've brought, our maintenance guys have brought a lot to our table. you know.
Usually though, maintenance men, and maybe, they don't care what it costs, I just need it, get it.
No, but
Well,
they come to me sometimes. One of them, we have another different type of fan in Agawam, and he said, Jackie, I mean, we literally got them for a fan over a stove for $17 a piece. So,
Wonderful.
I mean, that was
Wonderful.
phenomenal that we could then, you
Well,
know.
I want it for $13.
Well,
They understand that
Yeah.
we're trying to watch our money.
and
And following up on that, when we came in here, when I came in here in April, they had credit cards, they had cell phones, and
Paying taxes.
we got bills for cell phones for people, the employees that are dead. We're still
deceased for
getting-
2 years.
Because unfortunately, the
Did they
authority
make any
was
calls?
vested in the,
No.
huh?
Not
Did they
one,
make many calls?
Yeah,
None.
afterwards?
which was
Yeah,
really
we
upsetting.
got calls.
No,
So
no,
we
no,
went-
the deceased
I'm only
telephone
kidding.
guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Oh,
talking about,
okay,
the dead guy. He voted too last week.
Somebody else on the
Anyway.
phone.
Also,
But so
sales
we
tax.
discontinued credit cards, ATM cards, debit cards, all kinds of stuff. They had credit cards to go buy gas anywhere. So we, again, I went to the town administrator with the law and said, can we buy gas from your maintenance department? They said, fine, we're saving hundreds of dollars a month on
Wonderful.
gas.
Yeah.
They just hooked the truck up with some kind of computer mechanism that
Wonderful.
allocates it. We pay the bill once a month to them, but there's a lot of inefficiencies and we're trying to be more efficient, but go ahead with
Okay.
your report.
I just,
Did
again,
we-
want to
did we-
reiterate.
Did we do this yet?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you voted on that.
No, on the bills.
You wanna vote on the authorize the board to sign the bills that have been approved by the, and
Oh, I did see that.
have the supporting documentation
Yeah.
to the satisfaction of the administrator.
We haven't seen it since February.
So be it.
Moved by
So
Mrs.
moved.
Santos.
So be it, so moved.
Okay, seconded
Second.
by Mr. Lockwood. Any further discussion on the bills? And you'll try to get all that in your notes about accounts payable and work orders and
Purchase orders.
purchase orders and
If
so
they
forth,
request-
right?
if They requested for
Pieces.
Yeah, that's okay, do the best you can.
Vote.
She'll fill in the blanks. All right.
So,
You didn't take a vote?
No,
Yeah, they
no,
did.
the people are still looking through the bills.
Yeah, okay, I'm fine.
All right. So, that was, most of the bills. Used a lot of paper the last month.
We did, we did.
Okay. Oh, you got the town of Wareham, the $80 in there? Good.
Yeah.
The inspection, I
Yeah.
met that lady today and she said it was in the mail.
Good.
Ready for taking a
Sure,
vote on the bills?
absolutely.
All right. All in favor of the bills as authorized by the administrator for our review and signing?
Aye.
Motion by Mr. Santos, seconded by Mr. Lockwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 500. Okay. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom.
Administrative report.
Okay, now we can go back to the administrator's report. I'm sorry, it was
Just, that's okay, I just wanted to say again, thank you to
truncated
the
report.
town of Wareham voters this past week in the town meeting vote. We successfully secured $59,000 for underground underfloor plumbing and $35,000 for asbestos remediation, both in the Agawam Village complex. All of our flooring is asbestos, and it's cracked, nailed down, and, I felt like we need to move on that. Some of them are in rough shape as far as being soft underneath. You can feel it when you walk over them. Feel like in order to remove, to get down to see whether or not what the damage is underneath that, we have to remove the asbestos and we need it remediated, so.
Who needs to remove the asbestos?
To the floor underneath the asbestos, some of it is soft, especially in building 2.
Well, who's doing that?
Oh, we have to then, we just got the funding from CPC, so we're gonna go, there is a couple of companies that we can send out the RFP to to get
To
in.
get rid of yours?
Yeah.
You're not having your maintenance man do it?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not, no. So I just wanted to let, an update on the wait list. We still are at 1,151 applications on our wait list. We are calling them as needed and contacting different people, contacting the applicants to see if they're still on our waiting list, but we are receiving them daily almost here. It's really just, it's very difficult in Wareham. We have such a need for a low to moderate income housing for both families, elderly, retireds, vets. And I do have the breakdown. If you want, we have 17 elderly vets on our list. We have 106 elderly residents, 84 non-elderly handicap residents, 12 non-elderly handicap vets, 111 elderly non-residents, 205 non-elderly handicap non-residents, 220 family residents, and 396 family non-residents, for a total of 1,151 applications as of today. Maintenance,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just a quick question. How far back do these applications date? I know you went through.
Well, the
and-
ones were between 2007, 2004 and 2009.
Okay, so
the-
you culled those out?
Yeah,
and-
we contacted, I reviewed the applications, it looked like there was enough contact with them that they didn't respond back to us. You know, we contact them to update, we don't have their information, phone numbers are, gone.
One of the questions that I've been receiving
Mhm.
is, I applied a while ago, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And I said, well, I know that they've been trying to
There are
redo the applications. So generally speaking, if they applied after 2009, this is the, so the
No,
last
I wanna
5
say,
years?
and then 2009 to 2011, there are some still that we're working on. Mainly it's from 2011 on. We're still working on people that applied from 2011.
I do have a suggestion for you to help you out with.
Sure.
Maintain that waiting
Yeah.
list. Is the first of the year, send everyone on that waiting list an updated letter.
Yes.
And if they don't respond, take
It's
them off.
right. We are,
That way you
currently,
cover
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, we are currently, requesting from the DHCD a freeze on our waiting list. One of the regulations is if you cannot, place everybody within a 3-year period on your waiting list. And, I wanted to see, right, and it is really still, I mean, although I've counted and separated them all, it still needs work on it. We
It's a
still,
big job.
you know, it's a very big
It's a
job.
big
This
job.
more than anything else. And Mr. Paulides on Friday, when we were getting the board packets ready, came in, he saw the people that come in, the heartbreaking stories, the sitting down, the time it takes for me to try
Sure.
to sit with them and it's very difficult. I mean, this is the most heartbreaking part of the job, to know that, you know, we have to ask them, do you have family, you know, where are you? You know, standard DHCD requested questions, and we just really need to help one another better. And it is hard to turn off and go, okay, now I need to get board packets ready, and
Right,
so.
sure. I have 2 questions,
Sure.
Jackie, through you, Mr. Chairman. I did see the letter that we sent to DCHD back on January 15th, asking them for
Yep.
a freeze all tenant intake applications. Did we not get a response from them?
The response included in the community, the question, the,
Is it verbal?
yeah, maybe, I'm sorry,
Telephone
well,
response.
they want us to get this continued,
They
TAP,
want you to continue to take applications.
correct. After they give us, they said they're ready to give us the approval. DHCD, as we all know, it's an election year. So the top people that do sign off on these projects are not always, as we saw Liz Hare, who was the former director, she's no longer there. There's an acting director. She's gonna be very shortly going out on maternity leave, and they're not replacing her, so, all right, I'm sorry. So, to make a long story short, they haven't signed off on it yet. Once it happens, we have to give a 30-day notice to newspapers and other minority, in other places that help with housing, notice that we will be freezing ours, but we have not received that okay yet.
Thank you.
Sorry.
The second part of my question is, Does it say anywhere that you have to be available every single day, Monday through Friday, for intake applications, or can you somehow manage your time to say,
Yeah.
Block it.
on Mondays, I will be taking intake applications, and
Right.
announce that somehow in the paper? And then, I mean, I know people will walk
That's a
through
good
the door
idea.
and it'll be unfortunate,
Thank you.
but I'm just thinking
Yeah.
of time management. for
That's a
you.
really, really good idea. We started publicly closing our office on Wednesdays because there are weeks we go by, it's overwhelming, and then there are days when it's manageable, but, plus especially, so Wednesday was our in-house getting caught up with our paperwork and intake applications and recertifications and,
The other thing, Jackie, you can do is you can say, look, I'm available for questions on the waiting list 1 day a week.
Good
That's
idea.
it. That's
Right.
it.
yeah.
Any questions, call me on Mondays.
Okay.
Make yourself
Good
available.
idea. I'm really going to be doing, I will actually get that word out.
That's a tough.
Phone message.
Right.
You know, one of those, I hate those phone messages, I know we all hate them, but they can be very informative in terms
Right.
of
Well,
putting
here is our.
information on intakes, press 1, information on,
I hope,
you know,
I hope I'm not killing
press
you.
2.
No, not at all. No,
That's
thank you.
pretty
This is like I'm very happy. I mean, it's like drinking cold water on a hot summer day.
Yeah.
We are and when I tell you our phone system, we don't have at this point the capability to have that because of our phone system that is set up the way it
Answering
is.
service, yeah.
So our waiting list on top, and I just want you to fully understand, we have a computer software program called Public Housing Associates or Administration, and
DHA.
it was, there's some major issues with that, and so we are trying to correct those major issues so we can rely upon our documents that we produce. And it was set up wrong, intake's been wrong, information's incorrect, the lack of correct filing, just so you understand, it's every piece of paper
I know.
is a job that needs to be, but yes, I mean, hopefully, I'm working with we have a great service that I've been working with, to get them to understand, and they're willing to help us somewhat in that area, that's why. But then on top of that, there are moments when I'm by myself in the office and the maintenance guy, I need you to look at this, so I'll walk out of the office and not put the answering service on because it takes a minute to do that without even thinking, because I'm looking at the maintenance issue that needs to be looked at, or a tenant that catches me on the fly. So I don't always, and then the phone will ring, and it's not picked up by any answering service. And it's not that I'm not here, I'm very much here, but I'm out in the field or at Redwood and I didn't turn the answering service on. So that's another issue.
But those are good suggestions,
Yeah,
like
very
she's
good,
trying to
yeah.
shut down on Wednesdays, but you can also say, we're available for
Intake applications
intake
Monday.
applications
Yeah.
and we're open, but when you can call for make an appointment, you gotta encourage people to make appointments to
Yeah.
come in. Some of them are following up, and I've been there when people are coming up and we
Oh,
get
yeah.
hear all this conversation, and it's astounding that people in the past were placed in, because there was a disarray in the waiting list, people were put in that weren't on the list.
Sure, oh, I'm sure.
All kinds of
I'm
stuff like
sure.
that, you know?
I'm sure,
So-
friends.
And it's a disservice to those that are on the list, veterans, disabled, what have you, but anyway, I don't wanna
So,
interrupt this.
maintenance, we are still working on unit turnovers. Believe it or not, it's been unbelievable. Even our tenants and our maintenance guys are like, Jackie, we've never had this kind of unit turnover. It's just a matter of a lot of different things going on. People have gone back and lived with family, and some of them, one's deceased, and so it's just, we are almost completed with units 53 and 54, waiting on the flooring, which we did, we got that. E21, I've apprised you of the bathroom issue. Landscaping is beginning if the weather will hold out, but it's been difficult with the different types of weather that's gone on. And sometimes I just wanted everybody to be aware that we have many, many, many small issues that need to be taken care of, which we are trying, and we have a system in place to handle those. But as far as the maintenance calls go, our policy is that everyone calls the office. They don't speak to a maintenance man in the field. They call the office. We put it on a maintenance work order sheet. They call us, they come in, they check in the morning, they check in the evening when they leave. And that's how we handle those orders, and if there's an emergency or something that needs to be taken care of right away, I call the guys, and, you know, whoever, there's a couple on, so I say, please take care of that immediately, and we work out a plan with the tenant.
Do you have work order forms that they have to fill out?
We don't have work order forms, we have a PHA work order form that we're just getting into, what we have been doing in the past, and it's actually in your response to them, we have just a plain form of the tenant, the time, the date, what is needed, and then we discuss it with the maintenance guys, so. But we do have one in PHA that does need to be started. We are moving into that direction.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that is such a serious thing that you need to have work orders with multiple copies. So you can put
Absolutely.
one in the tenant's file, she
Yeah.
maintains one, it just will save your butt. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't have that in
I know.
place,
Yeah, I know.
You're right, yeah.
I know.
Somewhere in these 3 pounds
Yeah.
of paper,
Yes,
there was a computerization alluded to. Is the
Yes.
maintenance records on?
that's the
is it-
PHA one that they want us
Okay.
to start, and they had initially started it, and
then
part of the problem with initiating it that way, we have to actually go in and put some information in there first, and that's where we've been lacking, so I'm not lacking in wanting to do it, lacking in time, so,
Seems like once you get in the habit of,
right,
that's the place you enter the information as opposed to entering it on paper, then transferring it.
right,
If you reverse that process, enter it in the computer, then print it on paper, you
Right.
can print it to multiple copies, and the multiple copy issue is taken care of
right.
de facto.
Okay, I'm gonna go back in there, but when I initially reviewed it, there was some other stuff that was prohibiting me from forwarding that. Like, I could put the stuff on a computer-generated sheet, but it wouldn't be connected to that unit yet, and so that's what I need to do, and I felt like, because there were so many other needs going
Jackie.
on,
You're working towards that, right?
absolutely,
Yeah, so I mean, it's,
yeah, yeah. That would be the best, absolutely the best. Okay, thank you.
We've described what's going on here as trying to repair the car, drive the car while you're repairing it, and having DHCD trying to steer the car, and somebody else in the back seat telling you where to go. It's all trying to do all this at once is
But
hard,
the
you know?
most important thing that we cannot overlook, we cannot let her get burnt out.
No, I
I
understand.
know,
And-
I know.
You know, it's very overwhelming.
Oh, I appreciate that, yeah.
No, absolutely, you're right, you're absolutely right. I agree
Okay.
with that. Vacant unit, oh, I'm sorry, does anybody have any
Jane?
questions with the maintenance?
No, I have something to add on to the end of the agenda about budget. I mean, we have no status of our budget. We have
She's
1.5
gonna get to that.
people.
Well, I didn't, yeah, but
It's
you,
not on the
yeah.
administrators, wait
It's
down here. It just says
it's
we're
not on
waiting,
your-
we're waiting for their approval, but it doesn't say how much money it is, it doesn't say what
It's not
we're.
on your,
wait, no,
Hey, you
no.
got.
I cannot, I didn't
Oh, you're looking at last
absolutely,
meeting.
it is what had happened was,
This
yeah,
one?
no, that was attached to last meeting's minutes.
Yeah, but there was your
I haven't-
report from the last meeting.
It did have a budget line item in
Oh,
here.
okay, go ahead.
When you say, okay, that, I will get to that and I'll talk about that, okay?
Good.
Vacant units,
Maybe it's just the way my packet was arranged. It
Yeah.
wasn't-
yeah, that should have been,
Or
that was,
wasn't
yeah,
arranged.
right.
I don't
Okay.
know.
We have 2 at Redwood and 3 at Agawam open units. 2 at Redwood, one is being currently worked on in the final stages as soon as we get the bathroom done. One is in the process of being, there was a medical reasonable accommodation move from one unit to the next, and she hasn't quite moved fully out of there. So I put it in to let you know that this will be a vacant unit. The 3 in Agawam, 2 have to be put aside for 2 families that will be displaced during the construction of the 2 ADA compliant units. And those will be wheelchair mobility accessible units, and the people that are in those units right now are not mobility issued. So we have to have some place to put the people, and then, one just moved out on yesterday and today, their last day. They're moving out. So those are the vacant units. Tenants accounts receivable. I wanna review, we have 4 tenants that are in serious arrears to a total of $10,860. And all have been in touch with the office and reviewed and on our repayment plan. One of them is an elderly woman who has been in the nursing home for 9 months. her amount alone is $4,586. And, I contacted her family came in, I contacted her, tried to hunt her down, did not know she was in a nursing home. Tenants did not know what had happened to her. Finally contacted her, found her in a nursing home. She still wanted the unit. I contacted the state. We basically have to work with her. But she then was given the opportunity, you know, she needs she's a mobility issued woman, needs a bottom floor. She's in the top floor in Redwood. So I feel at this time we have to move to the eviction stat, the 30-day notice or 14-day notice to evict. She has not been in that. I mean, her lease, the 3-month issue has been broken, and we need to move on that.
Well,
Yeah, there's rules on that.
She-
You
have
can-
you had 14-day notice?
We do have a 14-day notice.
And that's for non-payment.
Yes,
30-day notices are for other cause. But your
yes,
14-day notice should go out that month.
right. I know that. Yes, I do absolutely know
You have to
this.
send it out first class
First class certified.
and certified.
And we do have legal counsel that's at our requisite, and she has requested that. I've spoken to her, and we're going to move on this particular person.
Proceed,
So,
yeah.
she has been away, and then I told her I wanted to talk to the board about it, and then, just so we're all on the same page, so if anybody hears anything, my poor grandmother, who's, you know, elderly, is being evicted from Wareham Housing Authority, you know, so.
There's rules on
Yep.
that whole process. If somebody's in a nursing
Yep.
home for 9 months, it's
Right.
unlikely that they're gonna be coming
You
back.
can't,
Yeah.
it
Well, they
doesn't
call
matter
it
if they're in there
rehab.
for a month, they
Right.
still have to pay the rent.
Right, they
30
still have to
days,
pay
Still
the
have to
rent.
pay the rent.
That's what I mean, but
Yeah.
it's
So-
unlikely they're coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
We have some smaller issues that need to be addressed, and some of them, at this point, I've been working diligently because there were almost 50 people with wrong balances in PHA. Some have been proven that they have brought in their money and paid the proper amounts, but was never allocated to the accounts receivable amount. And so now we're down to $3,246 of monies that need to be addressed, whether or not it's accurate. And I move forward with them diligently. I have in the past I will be sending notices out to those people to say, if this is wrong, please come in and let's work with it. Show me your receipts. And I sit with them. I've sat with 3 or 4 families to go over the accounts receivable in detail. And I've spoken to the board chair about that. It distresses me that somebody brought in a check, had a check stub. We have one issue where the woman paid a certain amount of money a month. It was only credited for another amount every month for 5 out of the 12. Another woman paid $800 more, and it was never allocated to her account that she had paid that money. So we're working on that. Also, within the accounts receivable tenant balance report that I have, we are in the process of checking everyone on our list, the accuracy. This means that we will be sending notices to our tenants to include a statement and a ledger card. If a tenant believes that this is incorrect, they will bring in their documentation and we will adjust as necessary. On our PHA, there is $31,346 in the accounts receivable line items for units that are these people that are no longer a part of Wareham Housing Authority for whatever reason. And I need a request from you, the board, I do not believe we have the time or the resources to try to find this money, whether or not it's accurate or inaccurate. I don't even have records on these people. And I was wondering if we could do an adjustment to those accounts to bring them down to 0.
Bad debt?
I guess it
Written
would
off
be,
to bad debt?
I guess it would be written off to bad debt, and
Is that how you-
I don't know. So then we could be on the same page and we can get the accounts receivable detail to be accurate. So,
2 things. There was a significant problem I noticed again when I came in here. There was petty cash on the balance sheet. There's no petty cash. They were accepting cash for rents. We don't accept cash for rents anymore. We accept checks. We opened an arrangement with the bank. We changed depositories. We opened an arrangement with them that the tenant residents can pay their rent at the bank Fridays and Saturdays after hours. It'll be so noted. They notify us so they get credit for the payment of rent. We also made arrangements for free. They gave us a remote check deposit machine so that now the checks are paid, the rent's paid in the office, we slide the checks through. we comply with all the FDIC and US Treasury and all that sort of stuff, and now there's no problem with the residents paying, having to go to the bank and buy checks and doing all that, so we've made that. But in terms of the status of those accounts receivable, one of the things I've said from the beginning, I knew this was a mess. I think we need, one of the committees will have to sit with Jackie, because I am not in the position, or I would not be willing to put on the table a motion to write off $50,000, $30,000 worth
Okay.
of rents
No.
until some committee reviews to make sure that there was proper. One of the things I got on here is to ask for an audit for maybe the 2 years ending June of 14, one of the previous year, one of us, to find out what was the cause of these effects, what were the effect of all of these problems, and then we'll make a informed decision about writing off, because I know
Yeah.
I've had all kinds of complaints here about what was going on with rents.
Do we have our financial statements audited every year?
No,
We don't.
no. There's the whole audit system is up and out. When I call the auditor's office to come in here and do an audit,
Yeah.
they hadn't been in here since
2011.
5 years or something.
2011, there was a.
That's when they issued the report, but it covered like the year ending 2010, so it's like 4 or 5 years old. There's another issue with that, but I won't discuss publicly. So I asked them, would they come in? I was gonna bring it up and get a vote. They said, you don't need a vote, we'll come in. But I said, well, I'd like to have a vote and send a request to you to come in and do an audit and look at these types of issues. I don't want an attestation of the financials. I want to target areas for them to look at to help us get a handle on what's wrong here. So I think that the accounts receivable, they were taking cash.
So we'll just leave that as is.
We'll
We'll
deal
leave
with
those
that,
old
yeah.
ones as is, they'll sit there on PHA. I mean, and here's the other really bad dilemma here that we face. I have QuickBooks that the former administration set up for payroll and paying the bills only. PHA has the capability of tying it all together, so when we go in and we keep all the tenants' accounts receivable on PHA. And he does a month-to-month adjustment. The gentleman who handles what is called a fee accountant comes in and makes a month-to-month adjustment as needed to take out the accounts receivable and put it into QuickBooks. But PHA has the capability of handling it all, but we haven't, the time it takes to actually download all the information and get in there and have a certain point. I was shooting for July 1st to go in and start just phasing out of QuickBooks
The new fiscal year.
for the new fiscal year and start doing everything in PHA, but we need an opening balance of which hopefully we'll be able to get to. And so that's our other really, I mean, because how do we have some on one machine, some on another, and not be united? But that's what they were recommended when they couldn't figure out the accounts receivable balances 2 or 3 years ago. And that's the explanation I've been given.
That's another phenomenon, Donna and Jane, I don't know if I explained this. Small housing authorities with limited staff, and there's 100 of them are in the state, do not have an in-house accounting system or an accountant they have what's called a fee accountant. This has been blessed for 50 years by the state, and there's several fee accountants that travel around and spend one day at a housing authority, and some of them even do it remote and don't even visit, and they update your books and check your rent rolls and do whatever they do, and they're supposed to prepare monthly financial statements for the board, or quarterly, semi-annual, help prepare the budget and so forth. And it's a lousy system, but it's the system that we have to live with until my desire, and one of the reasons when we recruited and employed Jackie was that she had a good accounting and bookkeeping background, is that she would eventually be able to take that on, and we could raise her salary up and have her do through the accounting and so forth, and we'd have financial statements again, but more involvement from the board because of segregation of duties, and eliminate this outside fee accountant system that they have. Go ahead.
That's Thomas Joy Jr.?
Yes.
The July through December 2013 accounting service? And has he
Yes.
done any quarterly statements for us? Did he do quarterly statements for us at the end of August, or at the end of September, and at the end of December?
I have asked him to, he has not reported back to me, so I told him
And obviously, we just finished the third quarter.
The
so
last
we need
thing he
to-
did for us was help us with the budget that we submitted in December.
In December, yeah,
So,
yeah,
the rest of the stuff is, he does the bookkeeping.
right.
Right,
Bank-
well, that was one of my
bank
questions, I
account.
mean, we.
He does the-
as a-
Balancing the checking account and helping
Right.
with the,
The
So there's-
taxes, the payroll taxes.
Right, but there should be a quarterly statement.
Right.
It says we
Absolutely.
spent this much, we
Right.
took this much revenue, this is what our, you know,
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
general, you know.
Yep.
gen-
Yeah.
Yep,
I've
I
been
agree.
asking it for
Monthlies,
that.
quarterlies.
we, yes,
Well, if we're paying him and we're asking him for it, then we
Right.
should.
we should be
Yeah.
getting it,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
Unfortunately, I know 4 or 5 of them out there, and they're all not
Yeah.
up to my standards.
Well, maybe we should consider putting it out for bid and getting somebody new. How long has this gentleman been doing it? Do we know? Like
Oh, he's a
forever?
very long time.
There's a small
There's,
group,
and they're like blessed by DHCD.
there's a small
It's
group of them, and they cover the whole state, except for the small shops like this. And, he's as good as the others, which is as good as they are. But
So-
anyway,
Okay, so the next item on the gist is the FY14 budget.
Should still be preparing quarterly statements.
The FY14 budget, to find out, I do keep my own spreadsheet to see where we're at with this budget, because when I came in December, we'd already started expending funds, there wasn't a budget with the state does have the budget now, again, they're waiting for this, they actually required us to see if Ms. Barrows will sign off on to certify the FY13 budget, they have the actual amount of money up there, because we have to file a quarterly report with DHCD on what we've actually spent with them, so they have all of the actual FY13 numbers. They still want this certification, and as you
check
can
off
see,
the box.
right, but as far as where we're at right now, I do have a spreadsheet, I will update it, I will get it to you in 2 weeks, because I wanted to go back to see July. I actually just put all the raw numbers in, but July has some payments made from the previous fiscal year budget, and I don't think it's fair to us. I want to remove them amounts because they are with the FY13
Well, of
budget.
course they should be.
So I
They
want
should be.
to get rid of them, but I actually I had to collect the data in order to do this first. I'm a couple of months behind. I will get it. I use it as my own tool.
Do you have software? for your
That is
budget
actually,
and stuff?
what that is that's the budget that we send to that's the state's budget.
That's their
Oh, okay.
system.
Oh, that's your
System.
What software do you have?
It's my own Excel spreadsheet software. We don't have budget software. Because Excel this is QuickBooks we use for those 2 items. PHA probably does have budgetary software that we can then go in and put the numbers in and then work off them each fiscal year. So yeah, that would be PHA.
That's the state's system that supposedly everybody uses.
I'm saying. And I know that you, obviously, from all the conversation we've had so far, you're so totally overwhelmed, but it's May 1st. and
Absolutely.
We got 2 months left in the
Yes.
fiscal
It's a year,
year.
Yes.
We'd like to
And-
start out, let's look to start out fresh on the new fiscal year.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm all for
We also
that.
need to know where we stand for this.
That's
fiscal
what I
year.
said.
We don't wanna
Absolutely.
That's
overspend
what I
our
wanted.
budget,
I-
or
Well, and then there-
underspend our budget.
Just
God
so you
forbid, we
understand,
should underspend
right.
it either.
In the beginning, I mean, and this is one of the reasons, Jane, we have received $12,800 for unit turnover, so that money I want to separate out of our line.
Segregate.
I just kind of
Segregate
put the numbers in,
everything.
so I need to segregate those out so it doesn't look like we have a negative balance
You know,
in a line item.
Bob, I would love to see, and again, I hope I'm not, I really don't wanna,
This is why I was.
I wanna see a chart of accounts,
Yep.
Yeah.
okay? And I want to see your budget put in there, and every month, I wanna see where you
Budget
are.
to actual,
Yes.
budget
Budget
to
to
actual.
actual.
Right.
And that way you do a report every month explaining why we're off. We didn't do this yet, it was scheduled to do that. That's where I wanna be. I wanna know every month where you're at.
That's why I created that Excel spreadsheet, so then I
So-
knew where we would be. I mean, but it's not
Does it-
updated and I do have
QuickBooks
to
doesn't
get
have
that.
a budget in there, does it?
Yeah,
I thought it did,
they do.
yeah.
Who does, what
She
does?
doesn't want to
QuickBooks.
use QuickBooks, she wants to use PHA.
We
Oh,
wanna
well, if
get-
we wanna use the PHA,
Yeah,
okay.
we wanna use PHA because the accounts receivable.
I'll look at, if the board so desires, I'll contact the PHA with you and see what
Perfect.
we can find out for
Yeah.
you,
Happy
Yeah.
to do that.
Right,
okay?
Right.
yes.
Get her on the right train.
And they work with everyone across the state,
Yeah.
PHA does, I mean,
PHA,
and
okay.
it's
Supposed to-
online.
It's like the state system for local
Right.
communities, you
Right.
know,
Right.
this is the housing system. But what you said about, you'd like to start FY 15, July
Right.
1st, that's
Yeah.
what I said
Start fresh.
before about FY 14.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah,
And-
but you didn't have any people, you didn't have a
And
board.
here we are, right.
How could you, how
Right.
could you?
So,
It was impossible.
What I was given was, we don't have that in, to follow up.
Right.
We're in the end of FY 14. The state never approved the budget for FY 13, and they haven't
Okay.
approved this. In part of their correspondence, they're asking us and Jackie to go back and gather information that was previous to, go back to 2010.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
So they can check off stuff and
Well,
say,
they-
okay, we'll release your
Right.
subsidy.
Well,
They're
we-
depriving this authority and the residents of funds to provide services and make repairs to them.
This is what's
And they're
sparked.
just checking off a checkbook. We won't give it
We
to you.
need to go up there and
Although
meet with
they-
them.
Well,
Right.
my letters are pretty stern there, and
Mhm.
I've said to them, enough
All-
is enough.
right. Although they sent
Yeah,
the
I noticed
additional
that.
Yeah.
the CAP letter
Mhm.
to us at the end of March, what precipitated that was, I emailed a gentleman who takes care of all the subsidies every single day, and he wasn't responding. Finally, they got it together and they said, oh, we're gonna send you the letter, you respond to the letter, but they had already signed a contract saying that we would receive our subsidy over a 10-payment period during the fiscal year, and we haven't received any. We just, April 4th, they gave us $23,000, so that was another thing I wanted in subsidies, but that's the only state subsidies we've received since July of 2013.
But we're operating on the revenue from the rents.
Right.
Correct, but, and we have other.
But we have no status of
No.
that because you don't have the,
Right, but,
Right.
because it's
but
not yet.
but housing authorities are set up to operate at a loss. The rents are artificially reduced,
Understand.
so therefore, there's a subsidy that makes the difference between your budget
Right,
and the
right.
revenue.
I understand
They,
that.
in the correspondence we provided them with letters from attorneys, that this is not a new issue to them. They have no authority to withhold something that was appropriated by the legislature when it was asked for, and here's how much
Well,
for.
they do if they don't have the proper documentation.
No, they don't, I mean, this is,
They already
they
lost.
really don't.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
But they do, but they don't, and they
They
get
do.
away with it.
But-
Because they're the
right.
government.
Because the
They can.
documentation they're asking for has got nothing to do with that.
Right,
It's a sign off by Donna Barrows for something that was, that she wouldn't sign off, and if I was her, I wouldn't sign off, because she's signing under duress for documents that are false, budgets that are false, salaries that are improper, all kinds of stuff, so she refused to sign.
yeah, so I am going to get that updated, Jane. And I will send a copy to all of the board members, but via email,
Okay.
okay? So,
That's great, I love email. Email is good.
yeah. Just again, subsidies,
For
we
you.
received
Are we done with the
23,000.
budget thing yet?
I'm sorry, we also,
She can
any
call
other,
you and email me.
any other budgetary questions?
May I say something to this board, Mr. Chairman?
Is it on point?
Yes. I'm going to be very candid here. I may be off the mark.
Please do.
I have witnessed, as the board member, the work that the chairman, as well as Jackie, has done for the past 2-3 weeks. I have witnessed. Now, she's getting paid to do this work, but not the volume of what has transpired in the past 2.5 weeks to try and get our budget. The letter that Mr. Palawatis has written to Cheryl Glassman, to me, was direct, positive, and unafraid. By that I mean, this board is not afraid of Boston.
Well, this board was represented by one person writing the letter. I think that we all should have seen the letter before it
Well,
went.
but hold
That's
on,
just
hold on.
another
I
issue.
agree with that, but at this point in time, this needed to be done. It was done. It's to the point, and maybe the chairman later has to do that, but this was something that really needed to be done, from my point of perspective. I may be wrong. But
That's
at
another
least
issue.
it
Right, I
outlays,
mean, when you-
let me
That's another-
finish,
that's
please,
another issue, yeah.
please. And I'm not against the board here or whatever, I'm just expressing my own opinion.
Fine.
And what I've seen when I first came on this board. And what I've seen is that been transpiring since Bob has taken over, and Jackie and Bill, and now you two smart ladies is gonna help with this process.
We hope so.
You know, and there's no hoping, there's no hoping. I know that you will.
Well, thank you.
And all we're looking for as a board is to complete our mission of the residents having dignity in this place. I'm not the smartest person on this board in terms of writing letters and such, but we have that capability on this board. And I agree with you that we should know when the time is right, the correspondence. But I will be the first to put my neck out there and you chop it off and say, I understand why this had to be done and the way it had to be done. You weren't here.
No.
But anyway, we needed to get this done, whether people on this board believe it or not, and I will support this 100%.
Anyway, let me just say.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
From what you were saying, right now, the workload is overwhelming. It's not the standard workload that would be necessary, but it's all kinds of catch-up and fixing and all that sort of stuff, so.
And Mr. Chairman, through you
Someday
to the board.
it'll,
Right. What I'm suggesting when I was asking about the budget is perhaps we should be considering getting additional assistance for Jackie because
Yes, yeah,
that we're never gonna catch up is what I'm suggesting.
right.
And
well,
if we don't get some intermediate assistance, and I don't know how we go about doing that with the budget the way it is,
Well,
I
Let
mean, how can we help do that?
let me just, in response to that, let me just say, in DHCD writes these kind of letters, they put all kinds of pressure on you, they blame you for things, they don't know what they're talking about, they're way out of line, so therefore I feel like given appropriate, I can do all kinds of tone in my letters. It's appropriate for the kind of pushback we were getting. However, since this started, April of 2013, they have it within their scope of authority and responsibility to come down and provide technical assistance to housing authorities like this. Instead of doing that, they sit back, make telephone calls, browbeat you, to harass you, and do all kinds of other things, instead of coming down here, sitting down and helping us get through in finding a way to move us along, to make an exception that there's no budget for 13, they got the actual budgets, the actual figures, what do we need a budget for, let's move forward, but they won't do it, they're bureaucrats, they're low level, and fortunately, they'll all be gone, and we won't hear from them till they'll send us a letter just before they go out the door next September to November after the election. My estimation, that a lot of them in there aren't any more qualified than the people that were at Department of Children and Family Services.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I appreciate your comments, Rudy. I do appreciate your comments.
I'm not trying to be facetious.
No,
at
no,
all.
no, no, not at all. And coming from this field, this is, I mean, we had a person doing a 3-day-a-week job here. She didn't even work full-time here. This is over a full-time job on, even when you get straightened out. I gotta tell you, the industry standard is
Yes.
1.5 administrators to every 100 units. That's industry standards.
Wow. Well, now let me tell you, when we were recruiting for, I don't want to teach belaboring, when we were recruiting for the position, Ms. Executex called them up in there and said, what is the standard for this size operation? And they said something like 32 hours
No, not even that.
in X
25
dollars.
hours.
So we said, no, that's just impossible, especially with the amount of catching up there is to do. and they think they have the right, which they don't, to
No.
approve the salary and
No.
set the job description and tell us how to hire and recruit and tell her what her duties and strictly by statute, the board shall. Doesn't say anything subject to, then they tell you, they send you all these packages about, we wanna see who you recruited, how you recruited them, and we wanna see the interviews, and we wanna see this. We've got letters in here from attorneys that say, it ain't that way. They tried it in Cambridge, they tried it in Quincy, HUD and DHCD said, we won't pay, and they paid. They hired according to the proper process, but it isn't their jurisdiction and prerogative to micromanage, and
No.
they should be helping us.
Yes, they
Instead,
should.
they berate, harass, call you up on the phone and say, why didn't you answer the phone, where were you?
Yep.
This kind of stuff. I was there, I witnessed these nincompoops doing that.
And I
Anyway,
don't dispute it, and as I said, you guys have done
I'm
a
sorry
great
for
job with what you've
getting
had. And
passionate
I don't
about
want
this.
to come across as a know-it-all by any
No.
means.
no, we
I
value-
I don't want that to convey that. I wanna convey the sense of helping, and, you know, whatever free time I have, if I can help you out, I'll help you.
Absolutely, we
Absolutely.
value
You know,
your
and
opinion
I'd be
and
more than
input
happy
from
to help you
everyone.
out. And you're right, Rudy, our job is to provide decent, safe, and sanitary housing. That's the job. That's everybody in this business. That's our
So that's what
job.
we're trying to do,
Right.
from the
Well, that's one of the
top down.
things in the new policies, we're trying to set up committees that'll help take the
Good.
load off of
Good.
Jackie, so
Good.
she doesn't have to deal with tenants relations, infrastructure, budgeting, you name it, or whatever. Anyway, are you through with your report?
No, I'm not.
Keep
Hurry
going,
up.
keep
Um,
going.
We
I told my
received,
wife I'd be home by 5.
yeah.
Did you tell him
We
we
have
stayed?
I submitted a grant for what is called the High Yield Asset Management Grant through Mass Housing Partnership. Unfortunately, this was my first time doing that, and we just didn't have enough I didn't have enough time to really get it together. I knew that it wasn't gonna be accepted. I tried anyways, we got a letter saying, but she called me, I had a great conversation with her. They're trying to do this every 6 months. She said, I will work with you to help you get it ready for 6 months, but by that time, we'll have a greater plan in place to what we can use for supplemental information, or, you know, supplemental monies. So that, I just wanted to bring to your
We'll help-
attention that we did get rejected,
We'll
and
help you out with those.
I did the best I could.
Grant writing is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I did also, just to bring Donna and Jane Donahue, I don't know, Jane, if you're up to date with this, but I did ask for $10,000 for the community investment out of 80 Makepeace for lights in hall lighting in Redwood. So, also, I just wanted to, we've already spoken about a past due Verizon phone bill. I wanted the board's, how to handle this situation. What had happened was the cell phones, one man was deceased, the other two belonged to the maintenance and to the former executive director, and we tried to, the interim management tried to shut them down, and Verizon prohibited them from doing that for about 2 months, because they needed the person who started it. It was all under the executive director's name, not under Wareham Housing Authority. So we could not even cancel it without getting a decree from the Pope.
A quarter.
And then they charged us an additional $500, which we have not paid this bill yet. They sent it to a lawyer. I just wanna know how to handle it. I don't think, I told them that. I said, first of all, I mean, there was no evidence, I mean, and I don't know about how or why, but
In the housing authorities. I'm confused. If it was not in the housing authority's name, why did it not just get turned over to the previous executive director?
Exactly. This is why we've talked about this. The previous executive director, without authority, entered into contracts, signed agreements, did all kinds of things like this. So these people, the bureaucrats at Verizon or wherever, keep sending us bills. So if we end up going to court, we'll win, because number one, the person didn't have authority. This is on credit cards, cell phones, you name it. And
We're talking about the phone bill right
we're talking
now.
about the phone bill, so.
Whose bill?
Whose name is the
Whose name's
phone
on the
bill?
it's
bill?
under Pam Sequeira,
Yeah.
but it's on.
But it says Pam
Just
Sequeira and Wareham
Housing
Housing
Authority,
Authority.
but because her name was first,
They wouldn't.
not
they
Wareham
wouldn't-
Housing Authority Executive Director Pam Sequeira, they wouldn't let Kate Luna, the interim management director, or myself, well, it had been canceled by them, but then they added the $500 charge plus interest and fees onto it. So we couldn't, it took them 2 months to let her cancel the phone.
Go to court.
Well, this is how,
Okay,
this is
so
again
that's-
another
that's fine with me.
bureaucracy.
We'll
It's
do
another
that.
bureaucracy.
Yeah.
All you gotta do, when a new board comes in and sends a letter signed by the chair and said, we voted to take this so-and-so off the phone, that's the end of it. That's the record they need, signed by the secretary, whatever.
Right.
Right.
But they still, oh no, you can't do that. We don't care. Her name's there. We're only gonna take it off if we get an authorization from somebody that's gone and don't care anymore. Same with DHCD, wanting Donna Barrows to sign off something that she's not gonna sign off on. They don't get it, but anyway, so that's
Just to reiterate, one more thing, I was also wondering, if we could also request from the town, maintenance department to go up and bring our over 1-inch branches to be chipped by them up there. I don't know if they'll allow us to bring us stuff to them. They do have a chipper up there. I'm not sure they'll bring it to our unit, our place over in Redwood, but we have some branches that need to come down and also some stuff that just needs to be chipped, and we have a lot of stuff that's just been piled up. So for landscaping, I wanted to bring that to your attention.
yeah.
Do we have a truck to transport?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, doesn't, I may be mistaken, but does not the municipal landfill accept brush?
Not over 1 inch.
Not over 1
Everything
inch,
under
okay.
1 inch, the municipal landfill, we go and we dump. Over 1 inch, I was wondering if we could reach out to Dave Menard through Bob
Right,
to,
so-
you bring it up there to see if they'll chip it for us and leave it in their chip pile for people to come and take.
Can I have a motion to write a letter to the maintenance department with the same supporting documentation where the statute authorizes them to assist us in matters like this for chipping or whatever? It's just like buying the gas or doing the sewerage, so.
Yeah, but Derek Sullivan, why did you just send it
Send
down?
it to the town.
Yeah, well, when I went to Derek and Derek said, go see whatever maintenance
Oh,
says, and maintenance
okay.
says, oh no, we never did this before,
Yeah.
so we're not gonna do it. So it took a lot, just to get the gasoline, it took a lot of running around. So we'll give them a letter, cite the statute and say, here we are, we'll bring the
The chipper.
branches to you and get them done.
Okay. Okay, so you wanna do that with the whole report?
You know.
May I interject something here, talking about the leaves and the things? The different piles of leaves that are over at Redwood there, they can't be mulched up to put around, or if we bag them up, there's quite a few bags around. Where do we take them? Is there, I called the dump, they don't.
No,
They won't take
our maintenance man, okay, so I didn't know who was doing the bagging, thank you, whoever it is, but we will take them to the town, they do mulch it themselves. We can take that stuff over to the town, which we are just beginning, and today, they are working over there doing landscaping as long as weather permits, but, yeah, we had a long discussion concerning landscaping and getting rid of that, because there's a number of piles that the
We have
prisoners.
to take a recess because he has to change the tape again, but if
Yeah.
you would like, we'll continue
Yeah.
that conversation.
The prisoners,
It's all right.
Put-
Back to the,
On
all right? We were,
Motion for the chipper.
okay,
Send a letter.
there was a motion being made to send a letter to the maintenance department requesting that they somehow allow us to get the 1 inch or less branches chipped at whatever location they want. I don't know if they give us the machine, but we can ask them that too if we can borrow it. So, on the motion, do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Donna Braun, seconded by Bill Lockwood. Any further discussion?
Yes, and, CC should be the town administrator.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, selectmen,
Oh, yeah.
all those folks.
This is Dave Menard, municipal maintenance director.
Right,
Yeah. Well,
Just to give it power.
yeah, no. We do that on all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
I
go
figured
ahead.
you would, but I
Okay.
figured I'd say it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
just so, okay, go ahead.
So motion was made, second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Okay, are you,
No, I got two more quick items.
okay.
Just so everybody knows, bring everybody up to date. $12,800 in the unit turnovers we received. Also this year, they have given us an override on our budget of $31 per unit for snow and ice removal for this winter. That's not going away too quickly, but I guess not going away without a fight. So just so you know, we can, I think it comes over $3,100 more that we can add to our budget line item for snow and ice removal, so it works out really well. Also, just to reiterate to the tenants, our maintenance work order situation, please always call the office first. We put it on our maintenance work order list, and then we divvy out the work during the week, during the day as needed. Also, for the Agawam residents, please, if you have stuff stored in the end units, just like this unit right out here, we're doing a spring cleanup, and we need to make sure that, anything that belongs to the tenants is properly identified, so we know what we can throw away, what is ours, what isn't ours, as we go through and clean this up. And that's the end of my, that's the end of my report.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the administrator's report?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion by Mrs. Donahue, seconded by Mr. Lockwood. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
500. Do you wanna, we'll go to the residents' participation now?
Up to you.
I know, I apologize, you've been here quite a while, so I'll go out of order and ask the residents' participation at this point. Because you were in the middle of talking about bags and cleanup and all that, and I don't know if you finished. Leaves.
Oh, the leaves,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I also want to mention about the fences. Some of those fences over there are falling down, they're half leaning. They going, I think they would look better if it's taken down instead of the way they're leaning down.
Is it the chain link fence like we had here?
No, it's a wooden,
Oh,
Oh, for
stockade.
these,
garbage.
yeah, the garbage,
The fence around the garbage
Oh,
barrels.
these
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
stockade areas,
Yes.
yeah. I see.
At Redwood.
At Redwood,
Is that an
right.
Agawam or a
A
Redwood
lot of them
situation?
at Redwood.
Mm. You finished?
yes.
Okay, next.
The other thing besides the twigs, there are, after that microburst during the hurricane, several trees came down, this was 2 years ago. Several trees came down behind E building. They were all cut up, and all on the other side on the chain link fence are great big logs. The whole way down, they covered up all the plants.
Still
All
there.
the leaves they've been removing for the past 2 years. Instead of taking them off-site, they drag them on tarps and dump them behind E building. We have foxes and all kinds of rodents in there because of those piles of leaves and dead wood that's all around behind the building.
I just want to reiterate, just tell the tenants that we have discussed this in length, like I said in our landscaping. You weren't here, they are no longer going to be putting piles in between buildings. We are going to remove them or chip them up for mulch. And that's, the wood on the right-hand side of the building is going to be taken sooner rather than later. I contacted somebody to come and remove it. They just haven't, because of the weather and the way the winter was, they weren't able to remove it quick enough. But it definitely will be out of there soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. Wait, removing those logs. There's people we know that would like to come in and remove those logs, like for firewood or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was told that, there's a liability, you know, in case anybody
Well,
came in,
just-
if there's a,
Just con-
accident or something. But
Contact me.
Contact the
Contact
office
me.
Well,
and
okay.
Yeah.
we'll take that information and use it.
No, this was a while back, so
Yeah, well,
that's.
yeah.
we'll look into those kind of people that will take it for firewood. That'll
Yeah,
make it easier
right.
for us. Just like when we had the fence taken down here, somebody came along and took it for scrap.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what I mean.
There should be
Just-
a simple one-page letter of release from liability. for
Exactly.
someone who
Yeah.
wants to take fire.
Exactly.
All right, that's okay with me.
Just so you,
Make them sign it, they can take as much as they want.
yeah, just so you know, at the last meeting or so, you folks asked for a newsletter. We sent out a survey for what kind of topics and a lot of information. We provided the members with a partial list of the information we received from you, and now we got some additional survey responses. We're gonna circulate it to the board, and we will, when we get a chance to take a breath and our head is above water, we will respond, but take it for granted that we take all your comments seriously, we read them, we're gonna take them into consideration, try to address them, and then we'll find a way and have a mechanism of having a monthly, a little newsletter every 2 months or whatever, to bring you up to date as to what's going on and what progress we're making. Anything further from the residents?
I have a
Yes.
question. I like to rake around my unit, and the back is filled with leaves, and if I push the leaves over against the chain link fence in the back, is that gonna be acceptable until maintenance can get to them?
Yeah, I mean, yes, if it, yeah, that'll be fine. There's not a lot of feet between the back door
No,
and the
there
chain
isn't. There's
link
very
fence.
little.
That's okay,
in
we're
my
gonna,
back.
as everybody sees, they were working out on the sunny day over here. They really did a tremendous job picking up the leaves from the bend all the way down to the road, and they actually fixed our little entrance thing down there too. We have some work left to do, but we'll get back to it. I will.
When you get a nice day, I like
Yep.
to get out there and.
No problem.
get rid of
Thank you very much.
On that topic of gardens and so forth, as you know, they'll be doing some work around building 1 and 2 during the summer, and I know you folks will probably wanna plant gardens and flowers and vegetables, etc. So we will strive to have them not trample on and drop shingles and stuff on there, but I would suggest bear that in mind, that might be happening, and we don't wanna see your, all your hard work be trampled on. Yeah, well,
I suggested to a resident that a lot of container gardens or just stuff that you can bring in the house, so they won't do that, so it won't get hurt.
'Cause it's my understanding.
Do you suppose, excuse me, do you suppose they'll be taking that lovely lilac bush down on my apartment there, 25 down at the very end, and I don't know what you call the blocks, 1, 2, the one that's in the middle.
you called it lovely, so does that mean you don't want them to take it down?
No,
The holly tree, you mean?
beautiful.
You
Lilac.
mean the no, the holly
Next to
tree. Pat, in front of Pat, in the front.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's a holly
It's
tree.
over in front of mine too.
No, it won't,
It's
they
a
won't
holly
touch it.
tree.
Pretty. No,
I don't
I'm
believe
not
they'll be
talking
touching
about
that.
I'm talking about the back, the lovely
Oh, the
lilac
back
bush,
one.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well-
Well, I mean,
They
they may
trample.
have to go in and when
Maybe-
they, but I think the lilac season will be gone by then.
We'll do
And I
some-
think they'll be able to move around it.
do some pruning, but make
And
a,
the little
put a
bush
little,
out front of my place, little,
put a
what's
little,
up there?
put a little tag on it, do not damage.
I will. Don't you dare.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
Any-
I gotta speak up if
She
you
doesn't
don't.
want it removed, or she does?
She doesn't,
Doesn't.
If you
doesn't.
don't, you get nothing.
All right,
And
did
that's the way
you
it
want to
is.
say something about the fence or
I-
something here?
No, but it was my understanding back on protecting our gardens, that when they did the siding on this building, those people were absolutely awful. They destroyed all the gardens and stuff, but they will take some measure to protect
I
these
hope
gardens.
so, yeah.
Won't
We
they?
hope so.
Well,
We'll
I
try.
mean, when I was creating these beds, I found glass, all kinds of nails, but broken glass from the windows that they took out. Apparently, they broke a number of them.
Well, that's not right, they should clean up properly.
They
after
should have,
get
but
through, you
that
know.
happened before me, but when I was making the gardens, I sure
Hopefully we
found
won't
them.
have that contract.
We'll have, whatever we get on building two, however, we'll try to ensure that they have done that sort of cleanup.
I don't know if they, you're talking about when they do the roof on this building, for instance, do they use tarps or?
Standard contract language says they're supposed to return any piece of landscaping to original condition
Where they found
and
it.
to protect it in the interim. Some stuff does happen,
Yeah, well, yeah, but I
but
mean,
they're supposed to take
I think when they
reasonable
did the
care.
siding though, it was rather blatant from photos that were even taken at that time.
Hire a clerk, of course.
Well,
Well,
they will have maintenance
I'm
by
just
then, so
kidding.
they'll be able
Yeah.
to take care of that. Okay, thank you for the residents' participation. Let's see, go back to,
Policies. Oh, you want to accept the administrative, oh, yeah.
we did the
Yeah,
tip
you did.
administrators before. Okay, let me, policies and procedures will take quite a while. Let me skip to, we talked about a letter to the auditors.
Believe me, I don't need any more paper.
Can I have a motion to send a letter to the state auditor's office to conduct an audit here? I don't know if there's a letter in your package, or we drafted one up, or did you,
So moved.
Discussion?
discussion? Second, was it seconded?
I'll second for discussion.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, second by Bill.
They're gonna
Lockwood.
audit what? Everything? We're gonna have them some specific things to audit? I'm saying this in the spirit of, whatever they're gonna audit, it's gonna be time that Jack is gonna have
Well,
to have
that's why
time to assist them with the audit.
Exactly.
Having been audited, I know
It'll be a
that
disruption, right?
it'll be a huge disruption.
Right.
So are they, I mean, will we be inviting them in here to invade her life for a month, or is that a bad thing? And
That's a bad thing, yes.
Right.
Maybe you
So-
wanna have them come in and do fiscal 13 and 14, and come in and after the first of the year and give us more time to catch up, and then, rather than a so-called financial attestation, they can do a limited scope, targeted, and look at the areas that we have concerns with, like
That's
rent,
kind of what I was thinking
All right,
along those
yeah.
lines, Bob, because
specific
you
scope.
don't wanna give them just a
Yeah, okay, well,
blank check.
all right, so we'll do
Okay.
Just for the record, when I met with the attorney, she suggested we do an audit because of the situation in the letters and back and forth with, different politics of running a local housing authority.
yeah, okay, so what, anybody have the comments in terms of targeting the scope to areas that we know need to be, like, accounts
Okay.
receivable, tenants?
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking we really need a financial audit, and we really need, in conjunction with that, the gentleman who's doing our
Oh,
books for
absolutely.
us,
They gotta be.
to get some
yeah.
statements for
Yeah.
us, because if we don't have that information for the auditor to look at, what's he gonna do, start from scratch with every document
Right,
that,
yeah, no
that's gonna be
beginning
crazy.
balance, that's why, you know.
Well, you know, cause
Yeah, you
you're
don't
an
wanna
auditor.
do that beginning
You know what I'm
balance stuff.
talking about.
That's the other thing with the state, they don't quite understand, they think they're gonna, the auditor's office doesn't wanna do housing authorities anymore, especially the little ones. And DHCD's coming up with the notion of the quote, single audit, which they don't even understand the concept of what it is. And it's supposed to satisfy if somebody's got federal programs, MRVP, AHVP and all that, it's a single audit, but those are an inch deep and a mile wide, and you get nothing out of them. So, they're gonna put that in their new process
Which is
and
kind of
get
what I
no
thought about
benefit.
the last time the state auditor came through. It was kind of an inch deep and a mile wide, and
Yeah, get nothing out, well, there's more to that story I can tell you about, but not publicly.
but anyway, I mean, if we have a specific purpose for which we want to accomplish this audit, which is to give DHCD whatever it is that they want from us, or,
Exactly, one of my
To be
recommendations
able to
is
start-
DHCD can be involved in the scoping of audits, that's one of the things that they don't do, and then they come back and there's all kinds of problems. We can ask them, from their background and experience of what's wrong, what do they would include in the scope of the audit?
it seems like finances are the number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other,
Question.
other than Mr. Joy's input, which is essential, how much time do you need, Jackie, to
assemble.
Organize
Well, I
the
mean,
information.
For the things beyond, December of 2013 and somewhat from July to December of 2013, I got no trouble with it. It's the previous stuff. That will be the difficulty. I mean, rebuilding is rebuilding. I mean, and having nothing other than some scraps of paper and some of, there was no check process where the checks were attached. Like I have a process how we do our accounts payables and payroll, very difficult to.
Well, and I guess that's very relevant information, because what's the point? I mean, I remember when the town went back and audited, it was horrendous, and it came to no reasonable benefit for anybody. So, I mean, if we want them to look at, I know they usually like to have a starting point with a balance from FY13 going into FY14, but if we can just start with a zero balance going forward in FY14, at least we could,
We won't do
we
that
would
kind
know
of an
where
audit.
FY14 landed.
We won't be in attestations of financial statements, so they won't need a beginning balance. The other thing is,
All right,
my
then
own
let's just do 14.
sense of this thing is, FY13 and before is unauditable.
Well, that's what I'm.
Disclaim of an opinion.
And the
But-
reason, and really and this is what the attorney told, I mean, as you saw, the tone of the letter that came from DHCD 6 months after they were here and we responded, and then they responded to us 7 months later, it was as if those 7 months didn't even pass. And, you know, when I spoke to them, you know, they sent our housing management specialist, and she was less than professional and cordial on the phone about this, and I had to, I mean, it's difficult when you're trying to do the right thing and you're not getting the tools from them, and then they're spanking you for something that they clearly understand that I am the one who didn't create this issue. I'm trying to fix it, and I felt, when I spoke to the attorney, she said, well, you know, sometimes DHCD doesn't know their own boundaries. Get an audit done for your protection, your board's protection, and then you go forward, and that's your starting point.
Again, like she said, as from observing what they've been doing, it's as if from there they don't know that there's a whole different set of characters sitting here. It's as if the old characters were here, and they just treat it like it's the same thing continuing, and it's not the case, and they should know better, but they do know better, because when they get these letters, they're gonna know better. So.
When you read the responses to the CAP, you'll see what has been made and gone forward.
Well, and I guess, I mean, back in February, that was one of the things I was concerned about, is that the CAP had been responded to preliminarily, and, you know,
They'd be following
that
up
we
on it.
needed to, you know, get rolling on that, because they would probably be following
coming
up on it.
back, right.
And of course, the letter came on March 21st, and none of us saw it until yesterday
Well,
or
it was
Monday, and,
they dated it March 21st, but typical, it came about 2 weeks later.
right, well, that's, and that's fine. I guess, you know, my thought would have been, if I was in charge of the world, which I'm not, and I don't wanna be, Mr. Chairman, perfectly fine with me for you to be chairman of the world. But I would have said, well, we need an extension because we're not meeting until April
Yeah.
30th, and I would have drafted a response and brought it before the board and then sent it to them.
Right.
That's my only concern with that particular letter. But there's, like I said, there's email. And if we're meeting, well, obviously we had a lot of reasons why we didn't meet since February, but when communications come in like that and they're like impacting the entire board, goes back to one of my concerns of February, is how do we keep each other informed of what's going on? And in an email that I sent to Jackie in the interim, which I really appreciated all the information that she gave me. But when you're walking down the street and people are asking you A
Yes,
and B and C,
absolutely.
That's right.
and you're going,
Absolutely.
well, I don't know, because we haven't met since February, and
That's
I
right.
haven't gotten a piece of paper or a piece of email or a communication from anybody on my board since February 19th. That's not a good thing for me to want to have to say. I don't want to have to say that.
Right.
So we
Exactly.
need to really, you know, iron out some of that.
Exactly, and that's one of the
Communication
things I
and-
think we can resolve in our policies and systems, because basically she's been flying by the seat of her pants. We've been operating without formal, one of the things we did was we brushed aside all the policies and procedures because the place was in disarray and we were gonna build from scratch. Unfortunately, we're at this point trying to do all that. But like yourself, I get residents send me letters, and I have to respond. I want it to come from me, but I gotta respond saying, well, I'll meet with the administrator, ask her to get the information, and we'll give you a response. I want you all to know and spread the word that any response requests we get in mail or whatever will eventually get to them. And it's not an unwillingness to be responsive, it's just timeliness, but we will do all that. And I agree with you, I don't like being blindsided or caught by surprise when people ask me even stuff that I couldn't know about, like, I'm on the waiting list, what's taking so long, all this kind of stuff. But there's a million different things going on, and we'll get to them all. And I agree with you.
And I think I agree with you also. But being that I've been on this board since July,
Somewhere like that, yeah.
and I've seen the transitions.
Oh, wait.
No, and your point is valid, no question about that.
Thank you.
And I'm not making excuses for Jackie or Bob, they're big enough to make their own excuses, which they don't
It's not
have.
an excuse,
No,
it's an explanation.
That's right.
Explanations.
But I think,
Explanations. are good.
from my perspective, that's mine, you make valid points. It's just a matter of how we're gonna get there. We know the road is there, but there's some blocks in it, and we're gonna get to that.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No,
No,
absolutely.
yes.
Here's the bottom line, and I think every one of you people, that's why I'm so proud to be here with you folks to help on this journey. We are in such desperate need. We need to get our house in order,
Yeah.
so then we can go get other places. Because that's the bottom line, is to provide more housing. I mean, when you hear on the news, last week there was a news article about New Bedford Housing Authority, they have 1,200 people on their waiting list. We have 1,150. I mean, we've gone through and quelled some out, we get just as many in. And
No, I have people who say, we don't need any more housing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Absolutely.
Are you kidding me?
And
Of course we need more
There's
housing.
another whole level of housing of near homeless that needs to be addressed for families that are struggling to make ends meet in where we live, in our own demographics. And so that's.
And if we continue this progress and demonstrate to the town that we're doing a good job, maybe as other communities have, we can get CPC money to identify properties, and we can build additional housing, affordable housing, and help remediate the homeless problem and the other people that have substandard housing in the community. But anyway, we're full. What was the item we were on?
Motion for the audit.
Board?
Yeah, so we'll draft a letter, circulate it through email for a review on the request for an audit. All in favor?
Aye.
Who made the motion?
I don't know.
You didn't get a motion.
You didn't get a
Second.
Motion
So moved.
by Ms. Donahue,
Second.
seconded by
I'll second.
Mr. Santos, was 500.
And that's gonna be for FY14 financials.
Yeah, you don't want 13? I don't care. 13's gone, it's over with. Nothing we can do. The problems with 13 have continued to plague us, so they'll be noted. All right, so FY14.
So give it to them, it's present.
Okay, let's see, so that was request of the order, that's done. Bill's letter.
Communication.
Gift of a donated spreader,
Another thank you note.
number J. Let's see, do I have a letter here? Yes. We don't have, everyone don't
No,
know?
they don't have that letter. You don't, there's not.
Is that Mr. Guyzo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gizzo?
Yep.
Okay.
they wanted to get it to the
We got
resolution things.
item J is, the maintenance men went to a training and they met up with some other, bless you, they met up with some other folks, and Jackie can fill it in, that from other housing authorities that had a spreader they didn't want anymore. So when they asked if anybody wanted it, we jumped in and said, we'll take it. And we sent our guys over to the Melrose Housing Authority, and we have a spreader, or sand and ice, whatever they call it.
What's it in the yard down there?
It is
It's
what's
hanging
sitting.
near
With
the
the
gallows.
gallows over
Yeah,
top
And
of
the
it?
gallows are on the top. Yeah.
So anyway.
It is free to us. And our maintenance man has serviced it, and it's ready, it's put to bed for the season, and will be ready for operation next winter. Hopefully, we don't need it, I'm waiting for May 15th, 20th to go by before I feel confident with this winter. But, hopefully, it's been serviced and oiled and greased and all the necessary locations, so. And they, our maintenance man who did do the inspection on it said that it's in really good shape. They had got extra allocated money to buy a brand new truck with a spreader attached to a spreader truck. So they didn't need the detachable one.
Melrose.
Melrose did, yep.
Okay, so.
Do we need to do any modifications to our vehicles to let it sit on
Accommodate
it?
it, yeah.
No, he said no, that it is appropriate size for the truck that we have.
And
It
we
sits
have to-
right in it.
Okay, so it doesn't need any special fittings or brackets or
No. They went and
widgets or
picked it up.
gadgets?
Well, the only thing they did do, because.
Melrose on our truck.
Right.
Oh, yeah, but that doesn't mean they spread sand on the way down.
No, it did, well, that was, that was the only adjustment that.
Emptied the rest of the sand.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Otherwise,
There's probably 3 illegal things in that. I don't know.
So we have a thank you letter to the Melrose Housing Authority Chair, but I would ask for a motion to accept a donated spreader from the Melrose Housing Authority.
So,
Second,
Motion by Mr. Lockwood, seconded by Mr.
whatever.
Santos. Discussion. I would add this part to the discussion. There are laws that regulate the declaration and disposition of surplus property. I don't know if Melrose Housing Authority followed the procedure of declaring it surplus by vote of the board, then advertising and seeking to recover some income for that. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but that's the process, and then when they get no bidders, they can donate it to other nonprofits. The reason I bring that up is because in the past, there was a vehicle owned by this authority for the use of the director. It was disposed of, and that those policies and procedures weren't followed, and that's another issue we have in the past, but I would accept the spreader, but ask if you could get them to send you a letter saying that they surplused it and voted
Okay.
at a board meeting, et cetera, and asking for a copy of that,
That's
so
okay.
we have possession of a
Legal spread.
piece of property legally. I can tell you a story about, and I know a banking institution were moving to another location and they got rid of all kinds of property, and then the federal bank examiners or FDIC or whatever told them that they did it improperly and that the board members were liable for the value of that property and had to come up with some money, et cetera. Made them report it to the district attorney and everything else, so this isn't that big a deal, but we should follow the rules. Right.
Speaking of which, have we applied this spreader to the equipment inventory?
Inventory, yeah.
No, we have not done that yet, but we will,
Okay.
as soon
Most
as I get that
important.
legal document saying that they've disposed of it appropriately,
Mm.
yeah.
All right,
Or
so
we've stolen it officially.
Most
we got the
important.
serial numbers, we're still on it? or what?
Oh, yeah, no,
Most
it's,
important.
they're
Okay.
very generous. They-
All right, motion made, seconded with those caveats and those additional items. Inventory, get the letter from the town, that the board voted to surplus it. Okay, all in favor?
Okay.
Aye. 500. Last item before we go up to policies and procedures. This was a vote we took early on. I think it might have been myself, Rudy, and Mr. Hall. When we came in, we said, close the bank accounts, change the locks, do all kinds of things. Let the bank account at the old bank run down, and then we'd transfer the balances over. That still hasn't been done. There was a problem recently that Jackie indicated where the state wire transferred some money to the old bank. So fortunately, it wasn't closed, but there was a charge because there wasn't sufficient money in it. But at this time, it's time to gather the amounts of money out of that account. We'll draft a letter telling them we want to close the account out, make a check out payable to the housing authority. We'll bring it across the street and deposit it so we can have that money available in our administration account. So with that, I'd ask for a motion to do that again. and say, why wasn't it done?
So be, so moved.
Motion by Mr. Santos,
Second.
second by Ms. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, 500, okay. Anything else besides going back to policies and procedures, subcommittee and communication from DHCD? All right, so we'll go, here's the letter. My notes there about that. All right.
Did we finish with newsletter?
Yeah.
Which one?
Newsletter?
Yeah.
The residents
Yeah.
newsletter, yeah, we indicated we have received surveys and that we have additional package, information in your package from surveys we didn't have and distributed with your package, so we will try to get on at least a bi-monthly process. A newsletter for the tenants answering their responses. Do you have any comment on it?
What are we, how are we doing that?
We asked for a,
No, I understand the survey. What are we, in what manner are we going about doing a
A
newsletter?
newsletter.
We just.
it would be an in-house
In-house
letter that we would
Understood.
respond to
Did
their,
you say how, who's gonna be
keep
doing
them
it?
up to
I-
date.
Yeah,
That's why it might be
Miss
a while
Hickey?
before it gets done.
yeah, it's, I feel like until we have a better footing in more areas, I don't think, but it is one of the problems that's facing us is we really need it for resident communication.
And
I mean, we have a lot of,
is this something that some resident might step forward to do for
Be
us?
the editor?
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We're looking for volunteers. How about you?
Volunteer for what?
newsletter?
To do the residents
We
newsletter
talked about that long time ago.
in consultation with the
Well, it's,
residents relations committee or whatever.
No, they're putting it, they're looking for
We're
volunteers.
looking for volunteers.
They're looking for volunteers to help with the newsletter.
okay.
We'll print it off.
I would say perhaps a lead reporter from Agawam, a lead reporter from Redwood, an
Oh, I like
editor-in-chief.
Another good idea.
Yeah, great
Um,
idea.
Just-
And then a chief editor.
Yeah, and an editor.
And as many Indian chiefs as you'd like, but
That's right.
it'd be your newsletter, you set it up, do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great
And
idea
then
you
you
guys
can-
do.
And when we can answer your questions by way of interviews or whatever, you know.
And make facilities such as
Paper,
copying
yeah.
available to the
Oh, yeah.
residents for said purpose.
Something
After hours.
After what? No,
No, after.
no.
Robert,
Yes.
do you have any idea at all when this so-called
Oh, yeah. we should.
construction will start on the buildings?
This summer.
I mean, yeah, are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
summer.
This summer it'll be done by the time the snow flies in October,
Well,
November.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about my flowers, so that's the only reason I'm.
We had a long
I have to make my time.
Were you
So
sleeping?
anyway, what I'm trying to say is it going to be really put off until fallish?
Oh, no, they'll do it this summer. They gotta do it during the construction season. Plus, it's gonna be
Well, that
worse.
goes into, you said November.
Yeah, but doing
possibility.
roofs, windows and things like that indoors, you don't want them doing that in the cold
No,
weather.
not at all, really, no. What about the bugs? They're gonna come in like, oh my God.
Well, there's things that we're just gonna have to sacrifice, I think, because
With the spray gun?
they've got to do the work, you know?
Okay.
The
Yeah,
work
I
is
know that. I
priority and
understand all
the
that.
building is awful, and
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody
Yeah,
wants the building done.
it's way overdue.
We
They
know
won't
that.
finish your place until last because you're so pretty.
We'll do you last, yeah.
No, please do it right away.
Okay.
All right, we'll do you
So I'll
first
get
then.
my little BB gun.
BB guns, we got a policy on guns, you can't have
Now,
one.
if I could just get stuff in there, I know my flowers would last till November. I always make them.
They'll,
Are they annuals or perennials?
Perennials.
Both.
No, I meant annuals, I'm sorry, my head's spinning around. I'm sorry, no, I plant all my pretty flowers.
If I could interject something
Yes.
back on the newsletter, I think originally when that was brought up, it was so that the board and the office could let all of us tenants know
Right.
exactly the questions that are being asked now
Mhm.
about the
Well, I wasn't
timeline
here.
for changes and repairs and what's going on here. a lot of people don't attend these meetings
Right.
Right.
and the
No.
newsletter would keep all of Redwood and Agawam informed about all the new things going on since you folks came aboard and have done such a wonderful job, but that's right. And, but to let us know, just like Gloria asked, when is this construction gonna start? Now, I know you missed some meetings, but many people
I have
do.
not been to the meetings, no, I don't come into this.
Right,
meeting
and those
at all.
questions are addressed at the meeting, but many people can't come to the meetings for one reason or the
Well,
other.
I've had.
And that, I'm just saying that I think the original idea for a newsletter was for that purpose. Not as a
Exactly.
little gossip thing and how's your garden growing today, you know?
Barbara, that will take up a lot of their time getting newsletters out.
I realize that, but
Well,
I'm saying these are issues that,
Not if we
that
follow
we as
Mr.
tenants
Lockwood's,
can't do.
idea. But-
And I don't think those things are mutually exclusive.
Right. And another point on that is now that we have the benefit of Wareham cable television, the residents that don't make the meeting will be able to see what's going on and transpire and hear a lot of these questions that they might be getting in
Yeah.
a newsletter anyway. So it might maybe make the need of a newsletter less likely, or it'll be a shorter newsletter.
Right,
but
'cause we don't wanna create more work where
Right.
obviously
That's right.
it's just
Exactly,
overwhelming as it is.
exactly. Okay, so that's all for that. Thank you. So we're gonna now step to item,
Procedures.
F on the new business of policies, procedures, and communication from DHCD. We can take that together because they kind of interjoin.
Excuse me, you guys don't have any coffee here, do you?
We
I
have,
have some water and some sandwiches for everybody.
you wanna,
Oh, just,
Oh, you got food?
you
Yeah.
wanna take a break?
Ooh.
You need
I
some,
need some,
all right. You wanna take a break, time out? Recess, recess.
Recess.
Okay.
Time out,
Set
recess.
Recess for,
So we have time
something,
to
I just want something.
yeah,
come
that's
back.
good, yeah.
Is that crazy?
Oh, bless your heart.
Have a lot to catch up on.
Time, a lot to catch up on, so if we could, can we,
So when is
take our seats,
I got my seat.
take our seats and come back into session and take up policies and procedures. I'm open to taking them up one at a time, discussing them, tabling some for further, I know I see things that need to be changed, and I have second thoughts on some of them. So,
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a suggestion
Go ahead.
that if you have, I know that some of us,
time out. We're back in session, thanks.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, go ahead.
if you could, email them to us as attachments, then we could do track changes for the thoughts that we have, and we won't, it's fabulous start, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
very, very
All right.
good getting it going.
So we can do
But we
that?
could do track changes on
Yeah.
electronically
Yeah,
and share that
absolutely.
information
Yeah. Okay.
between now and the next meeting, and then come in really ready to just go, okay, this is it, we're done.
This is what I wanna, my
Instead of-
suggestions and everything else.
Right.
Okay, good
Exactly.
idea.
So
Okay.
then we have everyone.
So then I can just start with you and I'll lead them all to you, Jane, and then from Jane it can go to, or
Do
do
'em
everybody
all
at
at-
once?
Yeah, just,
All at
yeah.
And
once.
then they compile them, okay,
Then we'll
fine.
come
And
and,
there's a way that you can do that in Word. If you don't know how to do that, Jackie, I can help you with
what's
that.
Word? Do we have Word?
Yes, we
You
do,
can,
yes, we do.
everybody can track their own changes and
What
then
about
can be
Rudy and I?
merged.
I'm gonna do mine.
We're gonna do ours on hard copy.
Okay, then,
Okay.
then Jackie will be.
That's okay, that's all right. I mean, I've already got them on the computer and it will.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
All right, so.
Cause I started marking mine up and then I was like, I mean, see all my little yellow stickers?
Oh, yeah, no, I
and
can
then
get them to you.
I was
Those
like,
are orange.
oh,
All of
Yeah,
these.
that would be,
Orange, they're not
yeah.
yellow.
So then we,
Orange,
not
that's,
yellow.
that's
did
even
I say
better.
yellow?
She did say yellow.
That's because we've been in the meeting too long.
All
I'm
right.
turning.
I'll do mine as hard copy.
So is that,
That's fine.
we'll take that as a motion that we'll put these online to all the members. We'll work on them in the interim and send them back with track changes to Jackie, and then we'll come to a meeting and go over them all together.
Terrific.
Is that a?
Yeah, can I ask one question?
Shortly.
My question is, when you did your policies, which you did a great job, I noticed, some things that,
HUD doesn't allow in there, so I was wondering if this is all, like our pet policy and your pet policy is, you know, we had to do it according to the way HUD required and by law. It includes a reasonable accommodation in that type of situation.
Yeah.
Is that a part of your pet policy? I didn't see it.
See, we're state regulated, or state overseen,
Yeah, but you still have to deal
Yes.
with reasonable accommodations, don't you?
I don't know,
Yeah.
I was thinking of not even having, would grandfather everybody that has a pet, and then if you got a pet, we're not having pets, you can get rid of your pet.
Can't do that.
We can't?
No, especially if it's like a seeing eye.
Oh,
dog.
Well, no.
service dog, that's one thing, no, I'm
Listen,
talking.
they can have it for emotional reasons.
Yeah.
They,
Oh,
reason, long as the doctor signs the paper, and they do sign the papers,
Oh, yeah, they do. They're
and
not
they
gonna
are,
say no.
you know,
Does that apply for a state?
state, absolutely, that's a federal law,
All right.
reasonable accommodation.
Federal law.
No, the reasonable accommodation, we definitely, but we didn't know that, you had made that adjustment to the pet policy that we didn't include. You had
There's
just got
another
it to
one?
me. He gave me another adjustment, but then I said I could not get this change for this meeting. And he said, that's okay, cause there's gonna be other changes, you know, all of your changes, so.
Because
But-
you don't wanna end up, you don't want somebody suing you for discrimination and referring to, reasonable accommodations and that, you wanna get.
Now, when you say reasonable accommodation,
Yes,
are we talking about dogs that will, with their owners?
Dangerous dogs. Do we have to
will
do
come
Cory
with
checks?
letters from the doctors,
oh,
or
no,
just?
no, you can limit the weight of the dog, I
Yeah.
mean, you can't weigh it every month like you
No,
wanna
correct.
weigh it,
Oh, I'm
but I
good.
mean,
She read.
you know,
That was put in there to see if everybody read it.
oh, okay, all right, I passed,
All
huh?
those things.
Okay, you can't do that. What you can do is you make sure that you get a letter of the vet and make sure that they have their shots
Yeah.
and that type of thing. You can do that.
Can we do a Cory check to make sure they didn't attack people in another town that they're coming here to? You know, they're vicious.
Not a bad idea, not a bad idea.
What about these pit bulls and stuff like
Well,
that?
they're not gonna fall under the 30-pound weight limit.
Well, I
What
don't,
about the
Big dogs.
small puppies?
Is that a
We do
a
have a-
standard
we do
that's
have a little bit
allowed?
That's a standard, is usually no more than 25-30 pounds.
Excuse me, when you say standard, that means from beginning to end?
Yes.
In other words, if that puppy weighs 4 ounces or 5 ounces, it can't go beyond 35 pounds.
Oh, yeah, you can't,
I-
you can't, well, no, give or take a
Yeah,
chubby
I'm
dog,
just
you
saying.
know.
Why don't you take the pet policy on?
yeah.
Oh, why don't you be quiet? Why don't you be quiet?
I know.
No, I'm just using that as an example, that
Alright.
we have to follow the reasonable accommodation.
Yes,
I was just going to the point where if 104 people had a cat and a dog, it'd be chaos here. So there's no restrictions we can do with a limiting.
Well, yes, there is.
Except the weight?
They have to have a reasonable accommodation. You can't have a cat, you can't have a dog, you can't have anything unless you have a reasonable, you can put a no pet policy and then have a reasonable
Reasonable
accommodation.
Okay,
That's
that's my thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
No pet policy.
Grandfather the people in here. and have
Grandfather the
anybody
ones that are
new.
here, but
Right.
we're not gonna just become a
No.
a
No.
vet.
And as I said, it's, you make them jump through the hoops to get that reasonable
Yes,
accommodation.
yes.
But you do want people that need that
Of course,
accommodation to
yeah, sure,
have that.
of course.
Well, we'll bring them
Like-
to a petting zoo every week. You get petted. Go ahead.
Thank you. The new piece of procedures and policies that was on the table today when we walked in, these are meant to replace the pages in here that you didn't have a chance to update, is
No, I
that what
think
it
they're
is,
the
Jackie?
same. It's just the ones on the table was the ones that were accompanying the transmittal to the state.
Okay.
They're already in your packet, so it's
Okay, so we
duplication.
can,
You can save those for marking up.
Yeah,
Okay.
it did duplicate, because we gave you the
okay,
whole
well, you can
pack.
recycle that pen
Okay.
for me
Thank you.
then, please. I can't carry this all.
Yeah, see that bag over there? Once that's
I
full-
see it.
Once that's full, I can't do any more.
There you go.
Mine have this little file folder, so.
Okay, any more comments on policies, procedures, et cetera?
No, just look at them and we'll go through.
Okay,
Okay, sign the checks.
okay, I'll pass these around for people to review and sign.
They were included in that.
They were included on the list,
Yeah, so
right?
they can take
Okay.
a look to see how, what it looks like, see what our timesheets look like.
The checks should be underneath.
Mhm.
Oh, is the payroll in there too?
Yep.
All right. So,
And then you need.
So I don't need to, I get all this in here,
Yeah.
huh?
So it's on 4:30.
That's a whole lot. How come you got yours down?
Hey,
Now look at him,
Yeah.
hey,
but they're not in order anymore.
yes, they are. You change them around.
They were in order before.
I figure this is gonna be a resource. It really will be. It's so important. I know it's draft and whatever, but hey.
I'm duly impressed.
Nope, they're already taken care of.
You know,
that.
is this something?
We're gonna have to do
They
it.
post it, they put this in here.
Yes, yeah,
I like
no,
it.
you don't have to
Huh?
do the
I
meeting.
like it.
Yeah, you can put, what's on the staple.
I get it to them.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Fix that.
Because it's gonna be a resource. It really is.
There'll be some other policies coming along, like maintenance on call and
So you should have gone with
a
the
few
three
others.
binder,
Yeah, I know.
since there are other ones coming along.
This is.
parking.
You have to tell me how stupid I am.
Oh, these are there.
Not me, I didn't.
Parking and vehicle registration
We'll
stuff.
get that notarized from Bank of America.
Oh, I don't have it.
You can't notarize
It was,
it. You gotta sign
that
it.
would take a
Count
little
the
bit of time. I
signature.
don't know if Joy
Thank
does
you,
that
Lou.
or if Tori does
Okay,
that.
I can get the
I don't know who does what. I asked for copies of the
Bill?
descriptions, but I haven't
Can you
gotten
pass
any
this
yet.
to Jane? That was her copy. That was her original. I don't think I gave her back that.
This needs to be
That's
notarized.
yours.
And there's this, which I thought she was gonna make copies for everybody.
Mhm.
I can find that
Well.
online too.
All right, are we signing here? Is
Should've
that,
had one.
is that the deal?
Oh, that's the,
Huh?
yeah.
Bob told me
You guys-
that
No,
at my first meeting.
Are you finished with me?
Oh, he did,
We gotta just make a motion to.
because I said,
yeah.
Did you on policies and procedures? I don't
when
know
I
if I missed something
got
there.
my letter appointing me,
Yeah.
put it in my packet.
Oh, okay.
Jeff's gonna email them to
Okay.
everybody and we'll come to a future meeting with,
No, she's like,
with our own, notes. You can
Okay.
set the meeting agenda if you want.
You know,
I mean, you know what?
LLC.
You know,
Rudy
like I
has to
said,
go to the.
yeah, okay, so do, I just offered to help and, so that was the only thing. Go ahead, okay. With my experience.
We're gonna adjourn, motion to adjourn the meeting, and we'll sign these things afterwards as we're going along. All in favor?
Do we have a next meeting?
Yeah, May 21st, it says
Third-
here.
third- It's on the third Wednesday of the month.
It's at the bottom of the page on the
Yeah,
agenda.
I see that.
Mr.
Anybody?
Chairman,
5
you
minutes.
don't, do you by any chance see any need to have maybe any meetings, more meetings until we get all up to speed, or do you feel comfortable with the schedule?
I don't feel comfortable with the schedule, but we were having meetings almost every week for many, many months trying to catch up, and
Yeah.
we're still not caught up.
Yep.
But I will have Jackie also send you a list of the committees and subcommittees and see
Yep.
if you don't wanna be
Please.
on them,
Sure,
get off them, or be
sure.
on to different ones,
Sure.
you can do that. You can have this, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
And is there paperwork that I would have to fill out for being treasurer? That you're
No,
gonna need me to,
no.
no
Every-
paperwork?
In the meantime, you're all, is it, are we on TV? Yeah. In the meantime, Rudy and I and Bill are signatories at the bank, so if Jane and Donna go to the bank, you can, we'll send a letter up.
Okay,
And
you tell me when.
All right, we'll
You
send a
just-
letter up. All
you
these
have
are
my
the-
cell phone number,
These are
right?
the 5 people
No.
that can
But I mean,
sign.
did you leave it
I
to?
gave it to you, both cell and
Oh, you
home,
did.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I do
It's
have it.
better to call me on my cell.
Okay,
And
yeah.
can I ask one more question?
Go ahead, go ahead.
There's this other pile of paper here that is an appliance inventory that shows every,
That goes with the CAP letter, the additional CAP.
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah,
requests.
that was one of the requests.
Okay.
What am I doing with this?
Hold on, no, just get the other stuff
there's like
signed.
a
You
multiple
were on
page.
Wait a minute,
motion
wait a
to adjourn.
Okay. Yeah, but all right.
All right, so we got a signatory, so.
Rudy, motion
Motion
to
to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I gotta make it.
Then the little name tags are nice, Jackie, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
Okay, second motion to adjourn.
Second?
Donna
All
Brown?
in favor?
Donna?
Aye.
All in favor, so carried.